Stop. We're supposed to be doing the intro.
Okay.
Hi, friends, and welcome back to Farmstead Family. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, we have Mr. Misadventure.
Mr. Misadventure.
That's what everyone's dubbed you now.
Oh, have they? Lovely.
Yeah, and we have our really good friend Joseph here, that I've been promising will be on the podcast, and he's come along to join us. So, hi, Joseph.
Hello.
Ahoy.
Welcome.
Ahoy.
Hello.
Ahoy.
And I'll just prefix this with, we are drinking.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
How is it?
Why don't you tell us?
So basically I made a good batch of mead, and we're just giving the first we're having a little taster, just to see if it's, how it's come out. And
We're
what
not.
do you reckon,
We're not
Joseph?
even.
Are we a winner yet? Are we going to...
It's all right.
It's
Yeah,
getting
it's
there.
It's quite drinkable.
drinkable?
Clearly, because everyone's been. We've not even finished our first glass, and everyone's giggly. So
Yeah, that's what it's about. It's the truth serum, so we bring it
I'll
out.
tell you what, it's gonna be a good podcast.
All right, so let's kick on with it. I have known Joseph now. How long has it been?
Well, I've only been out here just over 2 years, so it's probably nearly 2 years.
Well, no, because I knew you before I moved here, and we've been here.
No, so when I moved to Baker's Hill.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
you didn't, because we've been here nearly 2 years.
Yeah. That's how...
Oh, 3 years. Sorry,
Yeah.
3 years. Yeah, because I just came up.
So how long into your journey did you get the goats? Because that's when we met.
Like 5 minutes.
That's gold. This is a great intro.
Let's just say, don't start with goats.
Yeah, well, that's the prefix to this one. But so that's how I
Yeah.
met Joseph, and I think when I planned on doing this podcast, I kind of wanted to show how community and connection was so important to what we do as homesteaders.
Yep.
And kind of wanted you, first of all, to sort of introduce us to why you decided to go homesteading, like what was the driving force to that, and sort of explain, how you feel it's going so far and whether you regret or don't regret, and, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I guess it's a bit of a long journey as to why I got into homesteading. So initially, like my background, I guess educational background is in chemistry, and while I was doing my postgrad, I started cycling, and then I started racing. And part of cycling and racing and sports is nutrition. So I just found like you couldn't find the quality ingredients that you wanted in the supermarket, and I was like, I could probably grow. Like as a chemist, I feel like I could probably grow my own food and that kind of thing. And then just one thing led to another, and a couple of years later, finished my cycling quote unquote career due to injury and other things. No money. It's a hard one. But then just kind of looked into getting a property and setting up a farm and growing all my own food, just for my own health and health of my friends and family and that kind of thing.
So do you have a background in farming or anything like that, like your family and things
Absolutely not.
like that? Okay.
Maybe generationally, like my mum's family comes from like a farming background in Ireland. I mean, who doesn't in Ireland? I think. We're surrounded by farms where we live in Ireland, but that's apart from like running through the crops and that kind of thing. We had no real connection to farming.
Yeah.
So everything was absolutely brand new to me. Like when I got my first batch of chickens and that kind of thing, that was the very first intro.
So
like knowing absolutely nothing.
How'd you get your resources? What'd you do to kind of, I guess, learn about it, or you just went, I want to get chickens and...
YouTube's a great resource.
Mate,
I think we can all say Justin Rose is a big influence on the homesteading community as a whole.
He sure is.
So that's kind of where I got a lot of, I guess, desire to kind of follow down that path too.
Yeah.
I
Chemistry.
think you guys are the same.
Says Breaking Bad.
Pharmaceutical chemistry too, but I mean, what the pharmaceutical industry does is not really what I agree with. So, but I think just knowing chemistry knowledge in terms of like growing requirements for crops, even just for animals' health, like make sure they get enough minerals, understanding what the minerals actually do, like the understanding of nutrition as a whole is everything is a chemical process for me anyway. That's the way I view it. So
that's pretty cool.
That's kind of one of my main approaches is just kind of seeing it from that standpoint.
Yeah. So you would agree that like the microbes in the soil is pretty much your starting point and basis of everything.
Everything. Yeah.
So that's what you're working on your property?
Trying to as much as I can. Like I have worm farms, I've got compost bins, bokashi bins, that kind of stuff. I mean, it's just it's a scaling issue. Like you have 10 acres, but how are you going to cover your 10 acres in material? Like there's only so many trips to the tip you can go to get material to decompose, to put carbon back into your soil and
Yeah.
a place for microbes to live and that kind of thing. But I mean, yeah, it's a long process. But
Are you on that, where you mulch net?
mulch net, I am, yeah.
Have you ever got a...
Nothing.
It's so
Not a-
annoying, isn't
not a
it?
thing.
I've been on it for over a year and not
Yeah,
used
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Mulchnet.com. It's like you go on the register, and if there's someone doing
yes,
trees in
yeah.
your area,
I remember you
But
saying
even
that.
so, Western Power came to cut down loads of trees that were near power lines and that kind of thing. I said, just leave them there. We'll deal with them. And then like they had a trailer full of mulch, and I was like, do you guys want to dump that here? And I said to them, if you get any more, just feel free to come onto my property, dump it wherever you want, and leave it there.
Beautiful.
Because they haven't come back since.
But they might, and that's the good thing. Like, is always having your communications with people, and that's kind of how we met, right? I had seen on Gumtree a sort of flock of goats going, and some of them were milking breeds.
Yes, yeah.
Then I remember thinking, oh, do I get them? It's a big flock. I don't know if I want that many goats. Anyway, I kind of waited too long, and then they were sold, and the ad was gone. And then a few weeks later, the ad pops up again in a different location. And I was like, oh, whoever bought those goats is already selling some.
That's closer.
So,
Because it was a long drive out to get those. And it was a long drive back.
Yeah. So I was like, great, they're just here in within this area, within 30 minutes of me. So I messaged and I was like, hey, I don't want all of them, but can I come and have a look and grab a couple of goats? And that's how we met. So then, during conversation, we talked about, what made you get goats kind of thing, because you had them penned up in like Fort Knox because they must have kept getting out.
Well, they do.
Well, no, it was more that you want to give them a place where they will know, okay, this is safe. Yeah. So then when you let them out, and then you need to get them back in, that's where they go. They don't go off into the corner of that field to that corner to out onto the one disappeared.
Yeah, you did say it got out.
Yeah, so never when we drove in. Which every time now we close the gate.
Yeah.
Gates. Always close them.
Leave them how you found them.
One just missed. So we had the trailer backed up to that little enclosure, and we were down to the last two goats, and one jumped over the barrier and started pegging it, and then Zoe was left to deal with the last one, and she tried to grab it, and it jumped over her shoulder and then ran away. So we had two goats on the loose. One ended up running up the driveway, and then I've never seen that goat since. I don't know where it's gone.
It'll be like rogue somewhere.
It's just in with a flock of goats, or in with a flock of sheep or something like that. Just some random goats popped up. But we found the other one the next morning, and then I had to bloody persistence hunt it until it ran out of gas.
Oh, lucky you're fit. Because that would not have happened. It would have been shotgun.
FYI, if you
want doing that.
Yeah, FYI, if you want to be a goats person, like, you got to have patience.
And fencing is the thing.
Yeah.
Is there fencing good enough for goats?
Tall fencing, yeah.
Are they a good homesteading animal?
No.
What do you reckon?
Listen, I feel like...
Not to start off
no,
with.
for me, no, they're tasty. They're delicious.
Definitely not to start off with, but if you have your infrastructure in place, I guess.
Yeah.
Because some people can't afford or don't have the land to keep a Jersey cow, and now you do have a Jersey cow.
Yes.
Many.
But if you're a new player out there and wants to dabble in a bit of goatery, what would be your tips?
Get really good insurance.
Let someone else do the hard work.
Because if someone's going to hit it on your road...
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, they got out so many times.
Is it different like types? Like obviously, you dealt with goats more than me. I was the finishing part with packaging them and putting them into sausages. So
that's the easy bit.
I was seeing that. But you were milking them, Mel, and were you milking them too, Joe?
No.
You just strictly
gotten rid of them long before anyone of them were going to produce milk.
Well,
I actually made money on those goats. That was great.
Yeah, that's good.
On the rest of the flock that I got,
because they breed really well, goats, and they're quite hard.
Looking back now, like if I was to go at those goats again today, I'd have no problem with them.
Because you just know.
Just knowing how to deal with them. At the time, I kind of freaked out and sold them.
Yeah.
And I got a good price from them. I was like, okay, that's a problem gone.
Yeah.
I'll just focus on other things.
But they do take, like, they're not something that you
one of your more high maintenance animal for sure.
Get sheep. Start with sheep. Sheep.
Start with sheep. But I'm going to prefix that with not Dorpers, okay?
Really?
Because we have Dorpers and they're very goat-like. They're like gazelle. They can jump out of everything.
They jump. They go under. They go through.
they go
Yeah.
through fencing.
Yeah.
They'll just
Yeah.
work their way
Goats are
through
like that.
Yeah.
They're on one side of the fence, the next minute you just blink and they're on the other side of the fence. You're like, you didn't
And they're
even
happy
move.
standing
You
on the
didn't
other
move.
side of the fence. They don't go far. They just stand there like,
Yeah.
hey, what's up?
Yeah.
What's going on?
I'm gonna eat that.
So
You want me to steal from your grapevine?
Oh
I'm
yeah,
gonna eat that.
anything green and anything that you've nourished and looked after,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
will go for. Like they can't just go for like the paddock that's
No.
green.
stop goat bashing. Stop.
I'm
goat
sorry,
bashing. Stop,
I can't.
stop goat bashing. But okay, so you didn't start with goats though, because what?
I started chickens.
Yeah.
Obviously, everyone's entry point is chickens. I got free chickens from my old neighbor in Perth where I used to live was getting rid of. He was upgrading his chickens.
Yeah.
So he gave me the old ones. Just gave them to me. And again, when he was picking up his new chickens, he got a few extra for me, and I had a good few. And that was the first time I've ever owned any kind of farm animal other
How
than
good was
like.
that first egg that you picked up out of your chicken pen?
I can't remember it to be
It's
quite
so
honest,
good.
but I just every time I eat the eggs, they're just like there's nothing like it in the
Yeah.
supermarket. And then
Yeah.
I think at one point I did have to have like supermarket eggs for some reason. Maybe I was away somewhere or they were just not laying at the time. And I was
You're like,
like,
what is
these
this?
are what is
Disappointment.
yeah. It's funny when we go to
Pick up
parties
the
with Zoe, and the running joke is like asking people, it's like, so where do you get your eggs? You know what I mean? Is it like, where do you keep your chickens?
That's like me with milk. Right?
Yeah.
Conversations
Same
start
thing. It's like anything we produce like for ourselves. It's just like, where do you get that? As in like supermarkets don't exist.
Yeah. Like I know that when people come here or whatever, and that you know, like, oh, do you milk them? That's why we keep them.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That's the only reason they're here. Oh, is it nice? I'm like,
Absolutely.
that's why we keep them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we wouldn't bother. It's
Yeah.
like 10
It's funny
times
because
better.
I can't drink store-bought milk, like literally because of how it's processed. The lactose ruins me.
Yeah.
But I can drink up. I mean, it's unlimited amounts of milk, but I think I've drank like 5 liters of milk
In
a
a
day when I
sitting.
was in one. Well, not in a sitting, but over the course of a day. You know, so every time you go to reach for something, it's a glass of milk or something like that.
Oh, sorry.
Alex is fidgeting away here. His ADHD.
The ADHD going, guys. It's okay.
Pour yourself
But
another drink then.
But you're the same. No, I'm waiting for you guys to catch up. I can't do the.
It's too much. Feel free to reach around into the fridge there and get yourself a bottle of water.
I got my water
Oh,
here.
okay,
I'm
cool.
good.
Because you
I'm
might need
Irish, I
it.
can
This
drink.
is quite strong.
It's not. Can you? How's it going?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, is it good?
Yeah, go on.
You sewed it up
Ready?
some.
Yeah, it's a barren country out here.
Ready
Come
for
on.
that?
It is. How dry is it?
I was on the way out here. I was like, this place is a lot worse than where I am, and my place
Oh,
is bad.
really? That's good.
My place is bad, and this is.
Mm-mm.
I think it's because a lot of the farmers have prepped for planting. That's probably what a lot of it is.
We're trying to do that because we're going to put a crop in this year.
Just
Okay.
for this summer.
We've
eh?
decided we're going to do pea,
It's very hard this summer.
oat, and barley
Oh yeah.
to make bales that will be, yeah.
Nutritionally.
But also it's adding the nitrogen to the ground. And instead of doing conventional like super spreading, we're going to try and get chicken poo and worm tea. You can buy worm pellets now in big like bulker bags on
Can you?
Yeah.
not very
Jeez.
expensive. It's brilliant. So
Wow.
you'd know it's much better to put that in the soil
Absolutely.
than super or something.
Something alive.
And
Something
they've
alive.
done a real good job. I'll forward you the information.
And
on it.
for people listening, we'll put the info in the show notes
Yeah,
for where you can get it.
Like a ton does about 7 hectares,
Wow. Whoa.
and it's a slow releasing, so it lasts you the whole.
Crazy.
the
But
whole
also,
season.
it's releasing into the soil, and obviously that knock-on effect of
Yeah.
everything
Well, it's
growing there from then
just
on.
a little pill of everything.
Yeah.
It's got all the microbes, everything just ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're
No,
gonna do
microbes
that.
are key, like for anything, like making sure your animals are healthy, your crops are healthy. It's just
So back on to what we were talking about because we like
Oh,
to,
yes.
we get
we
diverted.
meander.
How
do?
I
I did say
met
it was gonna be-
Joseph, or how I heard of Joseph, because I didn't meet him at this stage, was through you, and Gracie brought home a little guinea
Oh,
pig.
that's right.
Oh yeah, I was gonna
Bless
say.
And then, and then we dubbed Joseph the guinea pig
The
farmer.
pig farmer.
The pig farmer.
Guinea farmer.
Guinea farmer.
Alex listens to Alpha Blokes. It's one of his favourite podcasts ever. And there was once an episode about it, and he got so excited
Oh, we're like,
that
that's Joseph.
he knew a guinea farmer. He's like, I actually know a guinea farmer.
Yeah.
We need to talk to Joseph.
Well, who knows a guinea farmer out there? I do.
Okay, let's tell the story. How is your guinea pig set up? They're actually set up for farming, and you do eat
How?
them, right?
Oh, right now?
How?
Oh, when I was.
Oh yeah.
You're not doing them at the moment.
Now I got one left.
Oh.
One.
What happened?
So-
Is it rats?
No, I gave them away.
Oh, good.
Yeah, just time-wise, it was too much to do before work in the mornings.
Yeah.
So what got you into them? Like
food.
Yeah. And okay. And how do they?
That's it.
And how do they taste?
Delicious.
Man.
Are they
no,
like
so good,
pork?
I wouldn't say like pork at all. No, they're
Like
more
crackling?
gamey. They're more gamey than that.
Yeah. Okay.
There's not really something you can describe it like.
Yeah.
It's just maybe like kind of maybe a duckish pork, something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
right.
It's its own flavour. When you taste it, you're like, yeah, it doesn't really taste like
Is there
anything
much
else.
meat on them?
Enough for one guinea pig at full size will do 2 meals.
Wow,
So, like,
I didn't think
you know.
that. I thought it'd be one per
Yeah,
meal.
but it's because it's so dense. There's no fat. Like there's very little fat. It's very protein dense, so you fill quicker. So what I was doing, I was just making stew. So I'd chuck 5 into a slow cooker with the stew ingredients and
Bones and all?
bones and all. Yeah, it's hard to debone them. You can
You debone them after.
yeah, as you eat, you just spit the bones out. Yeah.
That's like, it's so funny because that's...
Guinea pig graveyard beside you.
So the funny thing about that though is like for most people getting their head around the idea of eating some cute fluffy pet, for example, but realistically you could turn a pig into a pet, you can turn a cow into a pet and all that, so we still eat them.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
just mentally getting around that, because I'm telling
Sorry,
you.
take one trip to Peru. Everyone's eating guinea pigs on a skewer.
No, man.
Yeah.
You as a tourist, people go to these countries and they eat these foods. But come back here, it's like, I could never eat fluffy.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yes, you
No,
can.
mate,
Yeah,
fluffy's
yeah.
protein, bro. He's
Exactly.
It's so funny because my kids don't have that because they're growing
Yeah,
up here
yeah,
on the
of course.
farm. When they heard you were coming, they were so excited. They were like, "Is he going to bring us dead guinea pigs?" And we were like, "No, probably not." He's like,
all they got to do is ask.
"Well, because they haven't ever had it,
yeah,
they're very keen because they're not squeamish kids. They get that essentially that it's a food and that I told them and shown them
Your
pictures."
setup here would be perfect for guinea pigs. Like, I mean, I just left them there, and I ended up giving away 50. At that time, I gave them away.
The heat,
And
then
then-
the heat knocks them though. I reckon the heat.
Oh no!
It does.
Oh, it does the first year, and then
Oh.
maybe the second year. But after the third year, you got all the heat tolerant ones left.
Ah.
Yeah.
That's the same with these sheep, I think.
It's
Wow.
the same. Yeah, so it's like natural selection.
Yeah.
You're just
Yeah,
naturally
right.
selecting. Because I was really worried this summer.
Yeah. Okay.
And they just survived.
Yeah,
Even
that's
last
good.
summer as well, I was like, I didn't have the losses I had the first year.
And you're very
first
much-
years, every second day you're pulling out a guinea pig. And like,
And yeah, you worked so hard to look after them.
yeah,
Because you had a full garden shed set up, like a proper setup. It
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
just
yeah.
some.
Oh, it's a piggery.
It wasn't. It was a guinea piggery.
Yeah.
But
It's an old aviary that was just converted into, secure spot.
awesome.
Yeah.
but then anything that did die, obviously, you're very much like me that you use everything.
Yeah.
Like when
That's fertilizer. Well, as soon as it's dead, it's like, well, that's nutrient.
if it's
in the
fresh
soil.
enough,
Yeah.
it goes to the dog. If it's
Yeah.
not, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. Into the worm farm or into the bokashi bin or something like that. It'll come down into nutrients, and then you feed that back to your plants or
Yeah.
Perfect.
whatever. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And so that's what I think we gelled on first of all.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Mm.
I remember looking through your field and you were very green and you were sort of like, I jumped into it too
Still
quick
am.
and I don't think so. I think
So what?
we were
Yeah.
very much so, but I have a background in farming and so do you. So I kind of the broader things.
Mhm.
So I still learn from you every time I talk to you
Mhm.
about the sort of finer things and the chemistry of things and whatever.
I think I like the knowledge aspect of it a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm always looking to learn more,
Yeah.
so I can bring more information to the table. But the actual worked experience, I think, it's just harder to come by unless you actually go out and do it. Which I
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
you guys actually just go out and do it
Well,
a lot more.
There's a
I'm
lot of
struggling.
heartache in
Yeah.
that.
I've got to admit,
Oh, I
the
know.
greeneries where I need to scrub up, like green
Yeah.
thumbs, trying to grow and produce
Yeah.
on a larger scale to
Yes,
supply
yeah.
the family. That's probably
Uh-huh.
that's our goal, our next goal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the meat we got protein.
Because it kind of sorts themselves out. The meat just kind of walks around out there.
Oh, mate. I
For the
don't
most
know.
part, I mean,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
if you
Oh,
don't
the-
water your food, it's dead. Like
That's
that,
right.
if you just fill a trough and the food
We would
goes to the water.
Yeah.
We would normally say they're pretty well taken care of. They walk around there, but you hit a drought and there's no food out
Oh,
there.
absolutely. Yeah.
And you've
Yeah,
got to
no,
make
yeah.
sure that their nutrition's perfect because, like, we've
Yeah.
got a little lamb at the moment that's been born
Mm.
preemie and is not got any. She hasn't even developed to the point where she's got her wool. So, and she's definitely a lot
Tiny.
smaller. So again, that's nutrition.
Mhm,
That's
mhm.
we've missed something in the nutrition, and we've given
Yeah.
them vitamin E. So yeah, we are still learning, and
Mhm.
that's like I don't think that'll ever stop because we're
No.
diversifying in what we're doing. So
And even next
Mhm.
year, I think the vitamin E intake or the times we
Needs
give
to
it
be
to
more
them
frequent.
more frequent.
But
Yeah.
even you have to look at the sheep that lamb came from as well. Is that just genetically unsound? Like,
Possibly.
you know what I mean? Is it a genetic issue or even just stress that?
Yeah.
There's so many factors you have to consider.
To be honest, I thought she's older. She's an older one, so I thought she'd be like seasoned and.
But maybe too old, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's right. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
just like not able to carry to full term, or just something happened. Maybe one night the foxes,
man,
as we all know.
But the other thing with that is
we'll touch base on
because we are trying to farm on, you know, like you do work and you do earn good money. However, like running at this property and the size of it and things like that, and we're starting it, so it's quite costly. So you know, when we bought the sheep, we bought the sort of cheaper sheep at the markets that were maybe a little bit older. So there is that as well.
But the price to that, we got lamb. Like they were heavily pregnant, and they lay lamb straight away when they got them up.
Yeah, and I mean we might
them the right environment too.
Yeah,
like they can thrive in that environment. The reason that they're maybe not being fed as much and they're up for sale is because the farmer who owned them couldn't afford to do that. But
that's if you But a segue into that, I guess hay, right? Because that's our that's our thing next year. How much are you paying for hay?
It varies quite a lot.
How crazy is it?
It's very hard to come by. I mean, my God, trying to find it locally without having to go down 3 hours south of Perth just to get a trailer full of hay, and then that's gone in a month, so you got to make the trip down again, and that's fuel every time.
That's right.
But it's a whole day. It's back.
Well, it's a whole cost. Yeah. Like, and you never. And the one thing about farming is you never factor your own hours into the equation ever. It's zero. No. $0.
And there is a lot. There is a lot of hours.
Oh look, and they're overtime hours as well. Like last night,
24 hours.
That's right.
We're out late trying to shoot some of these foxes that you know the sheep are laying down to have babies, and the foxes are eating the babies straight out of them before they're even born. It's like that's insanity. Like people that live, you know, this is sort of why farming's a bit of an anomaly for the city people, because they wouldn't get any of that. Like their meat just comes on a tray.
Yeah.
You know,
even a mate of ours, he has about 4 odd goats. Bloody goats.
Rod.
Yeah, and big rodders, and he's like, he's all cool. He's like, I keep 10 hay bales in the shed. $20 a bale. That's no biggie, like. And I'm like,
$20 a bale
for a little square bale.
I'd like to not pay more than 10.
Yeah,
even
like,
then, like
I'm looking at 7. I'm trying to find the 7 mark.
Well, we had a good supply.
Because you're buying like $500 worth of hay, like, and that's gone in.
Yeah, especially.
And then they're wasteful. They look at you too.
You guys have so many of them.
They look at you while they're weeing and pooing all over it.
Oh, you put it down and they just throw it around. You're like, you can just see dollars flying around everywhere.
It's so true. Goats are worse for that than cows, though. Like, I think towards the end of this summer, we've been feeding them out, and they've been actually becoming a lot more clean.
Tell you what, beggars can't be choosers. that is what it's like with my goats right now. Beggars cannot be choosers. They eat every little scrap.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Like, we have learned that. So at the moment, we're buying silage, which is where they've cut it green and they've wrapped it, and so it ferments in there. It's actually, I feel like, a lot more nutrition, but a lot more sugars as well. So.
But a lot more bacteria for their guts, which is really good.
But what's crazy is they don't want to go. They don't
gorge on it.
They're not gorge on it. They don't want to go, oh, let's do this. If you get them a nice cut open
they'll eat it in a day.
They'll just destroy it. But for this one here, I don't know. They just
picked at it.
It's very heavier. It's just heavier on them. Actually, in Ireland, silage is so wet. Nearly everything is silage. You would rarely get dry hay. Here, dry hay is everywhere.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, well, I feel like, and this one wasn't even oaten hay. See, this is the thing, because we are doing it on a bit of a budget. We're looking around a marketplace and Gumtree and things like that. And when we
always looking for that deal,
it's just like the problem with that is like the farmers who are cutting the hay are not on Facebook.
I know.
Bit of Gumtree, bit of
maybe there's a business venture there.
And again, that's where your community comes in. So I remember you telling me where you got bales were like $6 each, and they were in packs of 21. I was like, "Give me that contact." So he said,
and then like everyone's calling, like
So we were getting hay off him for quite some time, and that was okay. But then he's run out now, and
I know I went to him as well, and he's like,
"Nah, mate."
Sorry, mate.
Or what I do have is top notch, top dollar,
and $180 a roll.
I can't, man. That is just ridiculous.
And this is the thing. So canola. They pay more for canola in the market. That's why farmers are growing canola.
Oh, come on.
So, well, it makes them more money, and it makes sense. Right. And it's like they've almost got them trapped.
Well, because business strategy, you got to do.
Was that just for canola oil?
Yeah. Well, whatever the canola.
Which is so unhealthy.
Absolutely.
For you.
For everyone. It's meant to be an oil for your car.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It is.
Absolutely.
It's so genetically modified. But the point
but not
of
even
that
about
is...
It's just in terms of... It's not...
Health-wise,
Any
it
of the
doesn't-
the plant-based oils are just not good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
right.
won't go into it now, but...
Yeah.
No, let's
That's
go.
That's
Let's
a whole
go.
different podcast.
That's another podcast.
Segue.
But that, I think,
Yeah.
I've been watching the market, I've been watching the trends, and I have noticed since canola's gone through the roof price-wise,
Yeah.
we're struggling to get feed for our animals
Yeah.
because if you were the farmer, you won't grow
Yeah.
that because it's not going to make you the money. And that's sort of where they've hamstrung us.
But I also think the fact that this summer has been so intense and dry.
It has been
There's
rough.
been nothing. Everyone
Yeah.
has been soaking up all of the hay that's available.
Yeah.
Yep.
That
that's
is
true.
also the problem because
Yeah,
the
well,
guy
that-
that we were getting hay from had it for... That was 2 years ago he had that hay from, and now he's
Yeah.
tapped out for this year's hay.
Well, so this is the thing. I wanted his older hay because the sugars have had a
Oh,
chance
yeah.
to settle and that it's better for the cow's gut.
Oh yeah, and they can eat anything anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, they
Yeah,
can,
amazing.
but you do notice a massive difference. Like,
Oh yeah.
mine sat around a bit bloated on fresh hay from this season.
Yeah,
One of our neighbours gave us a roll of theirs.
Yeah.
And they ate it. They
Mm,
gorged
mm,
on
mm.
it because it was obviously beautiful and sweet.
Yeah, yeah.
But they sat around for 2 days a bit bloated and a bit
But then we
sick.
had that. Then we had some other stuff from him, like the
No,
latest,
that was
latest
from his
season.
parents.
Oh
the
yeah,
first one.
the later season stuff,
Beautiful.
and
Worked
it
well.
was perfect.
Yeah,
and
right.
cheap too.
Yeah.
$50 a bale. But the thing is also, like, I'll go into seed oats. Like, we're trying to find oats because that's what our next
Yeah.
hay.
Can't get it. Just can't get it.
Yeah,
Even
yeah,
the
yeah.
farmers.
Well, the season before they were,
Wow.
it was a massive dollar for them, so they all just,
Well,
$550 or $600 a ton, and sold it all. And everyone's like, no, these are my
Now they
oats.
can't even
Like-
find their oats for
So
cropping.
the seed bank out there is like for oats, man.
it's
It's
quite
crazy,
rare, yeah.
Wow.
And you notice the trends,
Jesus.
I think, especially with us.
Well,
where
now
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
the research, you can kind of go,
Well, what you need to do is you just need to plant. If you can get your hands on any oats, just plant them and then keep that seed for next year.
Yeah.
And
Well,
one
that's
way to
not
go.
where
You
we're
need-
at. I
you
think
need
we
the-
need
No,
the
I know,
hay.
I know. It's a volume
Eventually,
issue,
but at least
yeah.
we're definitely going to go into. This has been the hardest summer. Well, we've only been here for 2 years, but this is definitely an eye opener.
Mm.
A massive eye opener, and I guess the goal or the plan is to get as much hay.
That's
You know,
that's where
learning.
my head is as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to
so
have
you're
it.
on the same
Absolutely.
page. Eh?
I mean,
How much does it hit the pocket, man? 'Cause especially when you're like,
yeah.
rain's just around the corner. Well, that whole lot of rain that come before and everything started to green up a bit. I was
I
like,
know.
oh, it's winter.
I'm
And
looking,
then
I'm
stop.
looking around the
Yeah.
field and there's like little patches of green everywhere, and
Yeah.
I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the sky and it's like, is there any
know.
clouds anywhere?
And then I'm like frantically on Willie's weather, and I'm like, there's nothing.
Like today was
There is
absolutely
nothing out
cooking. It's supposed to be autumn.
Yeah.
It's like midsummer.
Yeah.
We won't delve down the rabbit hole of why I think that's happening.
We
Oh.
all fell down the global warming.
No. Oh, it might not be global warming.
I know,
Cloud
I know.
seeding, maybe.
Why can't we
Yeah,
cloud
yeah,
seed
yeah,
a bit
yeah,
more?
yeah.
Anyway, so our plan
That's a
is to
good
grow
podcast.
a crop that is not just nutritious for the animals, but repairing to the soil,
Yep.
but adding a little bit more diversity in their
Mhm.
feed.
Yeah.
Because normally it's straight oat and hay, or it's
Yep.
straight, whatever.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd do a blend, and it's a trial again. That's again
Yeah.
where we're like, oh, we're going to put all this money into buying this stuff.
But-
Is it going to work?
But even look into different options now. So you're looking like tag trees and all that kind of stuff is to start to
Got loads of that in Bakers.
go down that
Tagisasky.
go down that
Oh,
path.
tastes
of
nasty. I've got some of that.
Different
yeah,
feed,
yeah.
you know.
I've got a
different
huge one, huge
Have you?
plant of that. Yeah.
So
Actually-
if you leave it for it to flower and seed and drop,
Yeah.
they'll regrow their own little...
Yeah, I accidentally did that in the middle of all the rest of my other like orchard plants. So
That's all right.
Yeah, keep pulling
No,
them
no,
out and
in the-
replanting.
Oh.
yeah, I will do that, but it's going to be if I had known, not if I'd known, if I was looking to collect the seeds, but it just got away from me,
Yeah.
and then they all just dropped.
Life,
And I'm like, well, I guess where they sprout, they sprout. And
Yeah,
that's it,
and
'cause
if
it's in
they
the middle of my
do-
greenhouse.
If
so.
they do, you can move them around the
absolutely,
property. Because cows will eat on that. And I was told recently, don't
buffalo
let...
grass too.
Hey?
Buffalo grass.
Buffalo grass.
Or is it elephant grass? Elephant grass.
I don't
What's the
know.
goes with that?
It's just really, it grows really tall.
Yeah,
really good
right.
feedstock as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
There you
right.
go.
We should look into that.
I'll give you some of that. I've got some of that.
Awesome. Community, mate.
I love it. I love it. But this is
Um,
the thing, it's starting to learn, I guess, or adapting to the climates
Yeah.
to find other additional food resources other than the hay and bits and pieces. Because literally, like the stuff, what the little knowledge I've got is the feed gets to a point, right, where it gets rained on, the nutrients go straight. So even though this looks like feed out in the paddock,
Yeah,
it's got no nutrients, and then they need
Yep.
Tell me if I'm wrong or not, but
Mm.
they need that vitamin E shot, especially sheep, to kind of,
Yep.
I guess, digest.
It's
that
like
and-
we would get scurvy if we weren't eating greens. It's kind
Yeah.
of the same for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get lethargic and then basically die. Right?
Yeah, and you would know about the balancing act with a Jersey cow, right?
Oh yes.
So
Oh.
you're milking her,
Should be
Yes.
bones one
and
minute.
the more that you're taking, the more skinny they become
Yeah.
because they throw it all into the bag. But so you've got to match that with you know their
the amount of feed
nutrition.
you're giving. Back,
And then you need them to have the lick block that's got the right minerals for that
Yes.
time of year, etc.,
Yeah.
etc. So it's a balancing act constantly.
Always.
And it's why it's great to have these conversations and have your community around where, I remember that time that you were like struggling with Joe, your cow.
Every day, you mean?
Yeah.
Come on.
But you're not now because you reached out to your community
yeah,
and I was like, yeah, let's do it. I went over there for a day and showed him what I know about, you know, how to keep her still to be milked.
Yeah.
Because what was she doing to you?
I'm not really sure right now. I can't really remember. I know you came over and gave me a hand and
She was
and all
kicking
that, but
things
just
all over shit and all
being
over you.
stubborn.
yeah, she was just
stubborn.
very. I mean, that hasn't changed. I think it's just genetically. She is the most stubborn cow.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
she
Literally.
from the jump every morning, she just holds back the milk
Yeah.
every morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Holds back every
If you don't
morning.
have a calf, I guess that's quite
He's got the
difficult.
Well, I
calf
have the
on.
calf.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So
But
she's
she's
there
getting
to
big.
let it down, but I have to do it. I have to put her on 3 times to let her to empty her.
Yeah.
She holds it back every
Heck,
time you put it on
Yeah,
two of the teats, and
Yeah.
then she'll hold back for the rest. So sometimes I have to trick her. I've actually found that if you get like a rough cloth to clean, so I've like when you clean her off every time the calf is there, just to so you're not getting anything in the milk. If you kind of pretend that you're a calf tongue, it'll trick her into dropping everything.
Yeah.
And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, because she can kind of turn her head and sees that it's me,
Yeah.
and she's like, then she swishes her tail straight into my face. And,
Yeah.
we're
Has
Yeah.
anyone
square one
tried
at that point.
blindfolding?
No, because they would not be. They wouldn't feel secure, and as soon as they don't feel secure,
Or just put up a barrier.
Yeah.
between
You could
her eyes
do that.
and- yeah.
as long as she can see and you're not covering her eyes.
As long as she got enough food.
Mm.
As long as she got enough food to keep her distracted, that's when I find I have most success.
Yeah,
But
okay.
sometimes I just know she's in a mood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And her
You
calf
did
is in a mood too. She is. It is genetic. It's definitely genetic because her Clona is a moody calf.
Oh,
The other two
dear.
calves are just like so
So,
sweet.
do you feel like though, you know how we talked about putting a halter on her and tying her up?
Yeah.
Have you done that a few
Yeah.
times?
Oh yeah. No,
with
she'll
Chloe?
walk on the lead. So if I have her on the lead, I'll walk her around. She's
But
no
that
problem
still
doing
doesn't
that.
do it.
But I can tell, just like it's funny. It's like a lot of people might disagree with this, but it's like the look in her eye.
No, I don't.
When she
I
looks
agree.
at you, and I can just tell she's just like, I'll tolerate you.
It's Bonnie. It's Bonnie.
I'll tolerate you.
That's Bonnie.
That's it, yeah.
That's our Bonnie.
And that's just the way it is. So-
I will look out into the paddock and I'll know whether it's going to be a shit day or not.
And I can normally tell. 'cause
Absolutely.
And you can't tell me
Like-
that's not from the look.
And also, it's like a day when you're late, like you're
Oh.
rushing, and then she's
Oh, you
just
need to
like,
get it in,
"Oh,
get
you
it
need
done."
to be somewhere, do you?"
Well, not today.
Not me.
Not today.
I've
got all
buddy.
the hours.
And where's my feed?
Yeah.
So that's the other thing
You
I
know what?
wanted
I'll just push it out and here and there
and
Yeah,
waste
yeah,
it
yeah.
while we're in a drought and there's no
Yeah,
food.
yeah,
But that's what I wanted to touch on with you is because you are working full time as well as running a
Full
homestead.
time and overtime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
driving, so your commute. That was a cheers. Yeah. Just
That's good.
it's all audio.
That's
so.
it.
So you're driving an hour to work and an hour home every day.
Yeah, yeah.
Which eats into your
Everything, yeah.
because you're milking every day as well.
Every day.
Every day.
Just once in the morning. So
Yeah.
only once. She doesn't produce that much. I think just because first time.
Well, and it's been a
milker.
horrible season.
Yeah, but she eats a lot. She gets enough food.
Have you've put Fosters on her too, haven't you?
I have initially, and then I weaned them off after probably a month.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm actually thinking of throwing the Fosters back on and letting her calf stay off.
Yeah.
Just to get them up to, because the difference in weight is incredible.
Yeah.
But you
Oh,
can tell. I knew just immediately that it was the milk was just the difference in how they put on weight. So just getting, if I'm going to keep her milking, I may as well get the use out of it. And
Yeah.
Clodagh doesn't need to grow anymore.
Yeah.
She's massive.
Yeah. Well, how old would
not
she
badly
be?
massive, but
She's nearly 1, isn't she?
yeah, July 11th, I think.
Wow. So she should be ready to go to
She'd
a
be
bull
very different
almost.
when you. Actually, I must send you a photo. See what you think,
Yeah.
because you've seen her when she's small and tiny.
Yeah.
I saw. Actually, I was going through my photos on my phone the other day, and I saw a photo of like the day a couple of days after she was born. It's crazy the difference. Yeah.
And they do grow amazingly with their milk. So that's why we keep the cow colostrum. Like I said, I've got that little orphan lamb that's well undersized. Was not cooked yet when it came out.
Yeah.
But I put cow colostrum into that animal and she is thriving overnight.
Yeah. Because there's so much in that, like in terms of just boosting the immune system as well.
Yeah.
Like the colostrum's just like it's like a.
How many interspecies it doesn't
biopack? No, it doesn't.
No.
So I mean, it's you would probably prefer same species, but a lot of the like I guess what immunoglobulins. Don't quote me on that.
I don't know what that is.
Internet.
What was that again? What was that?
I just things that help boost your immune system.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of that would just be cross species.
Oh look, and a cow colostrum is better than no colostrum for her, basically.
Yeah.
So, and that's what we get in abundance here. So we do say
just giving her a multivitamin from the jump.
Yeah.
And it just
the first feed too, like as soon as you've put something in their gut that's not colostrum for their first feed, you've ruined them. There's no way they'll recover from that. Yeah. It's the first ever feed. And we've noticed that. So we've had, obviously, you have done the same thing where we've adopted calves from a dairy to help sort of keep our cow, producing a lot of milk and whatnot, or to relieve the pressure, because she's quite a big producer normally. And it is her first season, so
yeah.
But I've found the difference between an animal that we know for a fact has not had its colostrum. They're just sickly constantly, and skinny and bony, and they kind of don't really
they
thrive.
don't thrive.
Yeah.
And then one that, you've made sure that it's been on the mum for a solid 12 to 24 hours. They've had their colostrum.
Yep.
They thrive, just like Chloe.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So
on the
guinea pig farming. So we'll go back to guinea pig farming.
Let's not gloss over that.
Yeah, no.
You did chickens.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to do guinea pigs? Was it like...
No, I decided long before I got the farm I was going to do guinea pigs.
That's wicked.
Like I nearly started doing that when I was in the city. But just didn't, I guess. I don't know.
Is that because you've travelled and you tasted them already? Or
I had guinea pigs when I grew up, and then I don't know where I came across it. Maybe it was online. I'd always known that they were like a food source. Maybe I saw a documentary or something like that. And food source. And
just went, you know what? I am going.
Why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Why would you not try it? Like,
did your partner used to eat it with you?
Oh no, she made me throw up the first time she tried it. Just purely from a psychological
point
of view.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that, because
totally
she is a psych.
Well, so she admitted it.
Yeah. She would know.
It's meat. It's like you're eating a stew.
Yeah.
Like, what's the difference? It's meat at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Just, I think it's knowing where it came from. Like, a lot of people, ironically enough, will tuck straight into a steak, not think twice about it.
Yeah.
But present them with something that we're in Perth, we're not on an exotic Bali island or whatever.
No, that's
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why would I eat these things?
So do you eat your chickens as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, anything.
Yeah.
I've got a duck hanging in the fridge I need to process.
Yes.
What do you mean process? Have you already taken the feathers out and everything? But
no, I had to. It was very unwell the other day, so I had to before work.
See, I love that about you. I remember you telling me
about
how your cow kicked one of your goats. Your favourite
goat.
goat.
Yeah. Well, no, goats that I had bought. So I inherited goats from just, again, my neighbour when I was living in the city. He had a friend who had goats on a property and they needed another place to put them. So having had more experience living on the land, I said, yeah, sure, throw the goats on the property, no problem. And I had more fencing at that stage, so they were able to stay in. But then later on, I had bought my own goats. So I bought 2 female goats and a male goat. And yeah, I think... being the protective new mother, she ramrodded this goat around a pole and just found her.
Killed her.
Yeah. Oh,
serious?
Killed her straight up. Yeah. I think so. Yeah. I think so. Obviously, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
But just the evidence was there.
And so as not to waste.
I just processed her straight away. Pulled her out.
And
of the
this
field.
is the things I guess us homesteaders come home to, right? Carnage.
Or go out in the morning
Or go out in the morning
when the foxes are.
Yeah, but you were like, there was no worries about like wasting her. How late were you up? Because I remember you were texting me and you were sending me pictures, and I was
3
like,
a.m. I think.
Just go.
Honestly, at that time, I was thinking, this guy's my hero.
I still have
like,
I still have the pelt at home. Actually, I need to turn that into something.
Oh, have you?
Yeah. So I've got that. I looked at a quick YouTube on how to long-term store unprocessed pelts.
Salt.
So you just salt it to death and then
Yeah.
fold it
I
up and
love
stick it in the
that.
tub
Yeah.
with a hole in the bottom and let all the juice drain out so it doesn't
Yeah.
go moldy, and then you can keep it for years before you process it.
Serious?
Yeah, some bear hunters do that. They just go hunting and then skin, and then they come out and they got tubs and tubs and tubs, and they'll process them all in one go.
Mate.
Yeah, right. That's
Yeah.
because we're
Yeah.
about to process another beef. And we're about to do all of our fowl, so ducks, geese, turkeys,
That's
and
next
chickens.
swing. So if you got any,
If-
you got any loose
Do
fowl?
I have 2 goats for you?
No. We're focusing on.
I know.
We're getting
Yeah.
the plucker out. It's going to
Yeah,
be
Yeah. So if you need anything plucked and feathered,
Loads.
right. Cool.
Bring 'em around.
I've got boys for days
Yeah.
right
Yep.
now.
Well,
How's
save
that?
feeding
a
them, right?
community. What's it called? A community pluckering.
Yeah.
Plucking.
Plucking.
The plucking is that the next video? Is it the plucking?
I don't know. I don't know where my videos are going to come
Yeah.
from day to
The
day.
community plucking.
I do have other people that might want to in on it, and that's what we like to do, the community thing, because
Yeah.
you're like, it will introduce you to someone that I know that you don't yet know, and they might have something that interests you, and I really love that.
I just love
about-
the conversation.
And all the hands make
Yeah.
for quick work too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, that's
It's all
coming.
been me. It's like Zoe has absolutely no hand.
Yeah.
in
I
any
was
of that.
gonna say that, like, that must be tough, and because you're quite young. How old are you now?
Almost 35.
Oh, really? See, I remember when I met you, I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
probably because you're so fit,
Uh-huh.
I thought he was like in early 20s.
Yeah.
So
I got
what is
ID'd.
this?
I got ID'd like 6 months ago. The guy thought I was under 18.
No way.
That
yeah.
is me.
He like the face on him when he saw my ID. I was like, yeah, thanks.
That
I'll
says
take-
something.
and so he
for-
didn't get
I'll
ID'd.
take that.
That's
I'll
something. No, that's
Yeah.
something to be said for nutrition and health, like, and
Yeah.
keeping fit and stuff, like,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that's the thing. I remember meeting you and thinking, wow, like, I was super impressed with the idea that this young guy bought a farm on his own. He was like, I remember we looked around your field and you were like, oh,
Yeah.
I've got to, I don't know what that is. That's some weed, and I've got to spray it, and all these things we're talking about, and it was all that asparagus. Do you remember? It
Oh,
was all in berry.
did I say I had to spray it?
You're going to spray all this because this is where you wanted to have animals and whatnot.
Oh no, that was when I had because a quick Google search for what is it, blackberry, the
Oh, the nightshade.
nightshade. Yeah.
We have that here too.
So that's another story about when we got the goats. We had that enclosure was absolutely packed out with that blackberry nightshade.
Yeah.
So me and Zoe we hadn't done it beforehand, so we
Oh.
had the goats in the trailer, and we spent like 2 hours at 2 a.m. pulling out all the blackberry nightshade,
And it's not that.
Then
which
finding
is
it's not deadly.
not toxic.
Is it serious?
No,
it's
it's
not.
not.
You can
They
eat
can
them.
eat it.
Yeah, we
We
don't
can
have
eat
it.
Man.
In Australia. There is no toxic.
So growing up as a
nightshade.
kid, when they're like, "Oh, your mums are like, don't touch that." Oh
No.
my
You
god.
can
No,
eat
the
it.
blackberry ones you can eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. It's the white ones that are grown in like the States, I think.
Yeah. Right.
So
Elsewhere, not in Australia.
There you
you're
go.
like, damn it! I just
And
pulled all the
also,
feed for these goats out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's another thing that grows as well. I can't remember the name of it, but we pulled out all of that as well.
Are you talking
Pig
about?
melon.
No,
I
no.
got rid of all that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
we
nasty.
do too.
I got rid of all that first year.
Are you talking about nettles, stinging nettles?
No, not nettles. I'll have to look it up later. I can't
Yeah.
remember. But it's another one that was like, you just pulled out a load of feed that
Yeah.
goes back profusely,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they will eat it.
Yeah, that's good.
So we could have just chucked the goats in, and they would have sorted it out for us. But we spent 2 hours at 2 a.m. So I put the goats in 4 a.m. Finished up, sun's rising, after having chased a goat out of my property to never be seen again. One that we couldn't find until the next day. So
Oh no. Live and
welcome
learn.
to farming.
I guess with this, right? Like, how does like mental health go with all this? Like, do you reckon? Do you see the
You
high?
don't struggle
Like,
with that, do you?
Personally, I don't struggle with it. I could see how people could.
do you have some highs and
Well,
lows? Like, obviously,
There's
and
days
lows,
where
yeah.
you're just like, I want to throw this farm away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I would definitely-
Foxes.
When
cause
you
that
come
to
out
you.
with when you come out and all your flock is gone, like
Yeah,
with
it's-
foxes, like I've gone through stages where I've lost like 30 birds in one night, and it's not anything I've done.
Oh man.
It's
that-
just they've dug under a weak point in the fence, or sometimes you accidentally leave the coop unlocked. They
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
in, but
You'll take that.
at the yes, I'll take that one by still don't
Can't
like it.
blame the kids there, can we?
Yeah. But you come out and there's like 30 birds with no heads, and they've taken.
Just the head and no bodies.
And they're just wasteful.
Oh yeah, it's that's disheartening. That's like, can I start again? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? and then you see an
That's
ad
a
for
sit
free
on the
chickens, and you're like,
floor.
yes, I can.
Or like I
No,
message you and
it's-
say there's a
it's
lady
tough,
shutting down and
Yeah,
she's
yeah,
got
yeah.
hundreds.
But it
So
is
how do you
those.
deal with that? I guess like from a
Uh,
mental cup perspective, how do you?
You just have to
go,
tell yourself, give it a couple of days. That's
Yeah.
it. Like, give it a couple of days, and then let the feeling pass. You know, and then if the feeling doesn't pass, then you really have to sit down and say, like, is it actually worth it?
Yeah.
But at the same time, just because that's happened doesn't mean you can't not go out and milk and get back into that routine. You have to keep the routine up. That is one thing a lot of people, and even myself, I guess, have come to learn, that it is an everyday thinking about it 24/7. Did I fill the water today?
Yeah.
Do the animals have the food they need?
Yeah.
Um,
And then it's running low. Where am I going to find it? There's a
oh,
shortage.
absolutely,
You're
yeah.
looking
And you
for
need
that
to.
months
But
before.
I'm actually, I'm down to my last week of hay at the moment, so I'm starting to look
We're
around.
the same.
Yeah.
We know where
so-
we can get silage if you need. $80 a roll. 5
Yeah,
foot
okay.
rolls. They're big.
I've got a guy actually out in Tujay who has hay, and he's got lots of hay.
Yeah.
So he's not on Facebook or anything. I think I found him on
What is he
Gumtree.
charging?
I think I got a month's worth for 200 of individual bales. So like a 21 pack for whatever it breaks down to be.
Yeah.
So it's under. I think it turned out to be something like $9 each, which is not bad in this
Absolutely.
climate.
Nah.
when you're looking at other places that are like 3 hours away that are 15.
Yeah.
So,
And I guess like what I wanted to touch on when we're going
Yeah.
into hay was, you know, like when you look around for these deals and you're like, righto, have you got double G's on your paddock?
Oh yes.
oh
weeds.
my god,
And they're
double
like-
G's.
and
I've
then when I-
eliminated them from my.
Oh, no.
It took so long to eliminate those.
Well, we bought
Mostly
this place.
finding them in the bottom of your feet
Yes.
or the dog's feet. That is.
We bought this place and it had none.
Yeah.
So none.
Yeah.
And we
okay.
came
You
from.
sure?
You remember my
Go
place?
Yes. Oh.
So we used to. Our other place
yeah.
had you couldn't step anywhere and not get them. It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
so packed with them. So when we were coming backward and forward, even looking at the place and putting an offer in, we were cleaning our tyres out,
Oh, you
making
had to.
sure that
Yeah.
we were not bringing anything here. And now this year, because we couldn't find hay and all that, we've been like, oh.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
we
yeah.
have purchased hay that's had them in it.
But I think you just need to have one isolated spot where you put
That's
the hay.
what we've done.
And
Well,
then
yeah, but
after
then
that,
cows shit it out in the paddock somewhere. It's pre-fertilised
So then
and
you're
wet.
looking at the who can
The cycle.
who can digest it and
all
who
right,
can
kids,
destroy it.
who's on poo poo duty
That's
today?
it.
We need fertilizer
Oh, sorry.
and no double G's.
Yeah, that's the thing. You have to think 10 steps
Yeah.
ahead
Oh, I know.
But
to
even-
stop a problem down the track.
And even that fertilizer, you gotta like kind of you gotta throw it in compost and kill it. Like.
Yes, heat, yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing. So like it's one of those ever evolving, like you've got to constantly think about it. And I get what you're saying.
And birds too. Birds will drop those
Yeah.
those paddy melon seeds and all that kind of stuff. Because I eliminated those from my property on the first year. Went out and pulled them all out and put them all into one pile and made sure that if they germinated on that pile, you pull out the sprouts before they can have a chance to do anything.
Yeah.
And this year I found one out in the field. Because you're looking out into the field, it's like, it's a bit too green over there.
Yeah. And the only thing that grows
Too
green
green.
in summer is wheat.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Beige,
Yeah.
beige. Oh, what's that?
That's green.
It's just really rainy over there.
Yeah.
You know, so I've gotten rid of that. There's so many invasive weeds.
Yeah.
And Cape Tulip. Cape Tulip is one of the biggest.
Worst. You know
and hardest
why?
to get rid of.
It's not just that. If your animal eats it, it's toxic to the baby. So if they happen to be pregnant, if your cow's pregnant, 6 months pregnant, and they eat that, they'll slip that calf at 6 months of waiting.
They'll slip their whole life. One of the other goat I had, so the goat they bought, the second one ate the Cape Tulip because the other goats were wise to it. They stayed away.
How's
this
that?
other
When you
one-
buy them down south or down near Cape Tulip, they know the area or they know what they're looking for and they don't eat it.
Yeah. Well, because they eat
Well,
a
they
little
know
bit
that,
and
eh?
they feel sick, and then they're like, let's not eat that. And goats, I mean, everyone knows goats are so picky.
Yeah.
Holy crap! You throw good food out at them. Did it touch the ground? It did touch the ground.
Sorry.
Can't eat it. Can't eat it.
No.
What else you got? What else you got?
The amount of people that say to me, "Oh no, goats will eat anything," I'm like, no.
No, they will, but only if you don't pander to their bloody...
Yeah, but
Psychological
in
game.
reality, whatever's on offer, they are picky.
Oh yeah.
But people think because of that's that common misconception they'll eat your clothing off the line.
Yeah.
Nah, they'll eat pretty much nothing. They're very fussy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't get goats for clearing weeds.
No.
some weeds anyway.
Oh, I think
that
that
right?
that's why it was good getting Dorpers. Dorpers will clean off a paddock. They
Oh, yeah.
are so good at that.
Yeah. Because
But-
right now the goats, every time I go out, the goats are screaming at me for food, and like, the sheep are just like clipping away at everything that's left out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like all the stalks, whatever, the grass that's just kind of half grown or
Yeah.
just dried out. And they're happy. They'll eat if you give it to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're happy enough just to be out in the paddock.
So, what's your favourite so far? A homestead animal that you've had?
What animals? Yeah.
So I have and have had. So currently I have chickens,
Yep.
ducks, cows, sheep, goats, dog, and I think that's it for the animals I currently have. But I have had the guinea pigs. I've had more goats. I don't know. I think the cows are the
They
most
give back
satisfying.
more, don't
I
they?
think so, yeah. I think
that's
it's
cool.
just you get so much from them, and they have the potential to provide so much. Like, I mean, you have the milk, and then you have the meat, and then you maybe have the hide down the line. Chickens obviously have the eggs. Ducks have the eggs.
When they're laying.
But
When they're laying, yeah.
So I also
Yes.
I add their poop into that factor because I find
Yeah,
that to be
true.
so
Yeah.
like when I've kicked over cow poo that's been over in the other paddock,
Mm.
and it's been there a year, it's white even. You kick it over after rain, there's green growing under it. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
It's a village in there.
absolutely, and
Well,
it's.
it is.
And we've
Village
done
of life,
beetles,
yeah.
and like it's
Yeah,
the life
yeah.
is in that underneath that
Mhm.
crust of poop, and it's
Yeah.
like people don't give that enough stock. Like
No.
it's so important. Cow poo is great, and
Yeah.
you can put it straight in your garden. It doesn't burn anything. Chickens, it's a bit different. You got to be
Yeah,
careful.
yeah. Too much nitrogen.
But you know, like as far as giving, I think cows the same.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
my opinion. Yes, you have to probably pay a little bit more to keep them.
Oh, obviously, absolutely. I mean, you can have chickens in your backyard in the city. You
Yeah.
can't really have your cow.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
maybe.
so
Now people know you've got a cow, though. Do they constantly say, "Oh my God, do you get milk? Like, can I get milk off you?"
Not really. So many people that I talk to are so wary of raw cow milk.
yeah,
And
I'm
it's
not
the
like-
agenda is real.
It is
It is.
one of the best
Yeah.
things. Like, that's one of the things I most look forward to. Every time I'm drinking a glass, like even still, when I've had the cow in milk for almost a year, I guess a year in July, and every time I'm like, oh, this
And you've got
is so
A2A2
good.
as well. Her genetics are top of the line.
I'm not sure. Can't remember.
I think it was.
And how many
so.
how many oldies out there do you like speak to and they're like, oh my God, like I remember.
Yeah,
And
it's,
Oh, they
it's
all
older
grew up
people.
on it. It's one generation of
yeah.
ruined.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And they're like, oh, I remember doing
Or
this.
do
and-
you know what a lot of it is? A lot of people are like, oh, I can't drink milk. They think you
They're
can't drink
lactose
milk.
intolerant.
Yeah. I am. I'm not officially, but I know that if I drink milk from the store,
Same
I'm gonna have a
same
bad
milk.
day.
I don't believe
Yes,
that
and-
it's lactose.
And so does everyone else.
I believe it's the. I've learned that it's the fact that through the homogenizing
Yeah.
and pasteurizing process, they've actually rendered that milk no longer.
Oh no, it kills the
food.
lactase. So like the heat process will denature. So lactase is an enzyme that degrades the lactose or converts the lactose into lactic acid. So it without the that's why even if you keep that milk in the fridge over time, it will go to a more acidic
Yeah.
product.
Yeah.
It'll taste like an Actimel or whatever
Yeah.
the equivalent is. But when you heat it, the protein unfolds and denatures, so it's not actually active. So you're not actually able to process the lactose, and your body inherently, in a lot of Western people, I think just in humans in general, I think it's just maybe been bred out over time. I'm not 100% sure on that, but yeah, we don't process it as easily.
Yeah.
Or else the enzymes that babies would have to process it actually just get inactivated over time because as you grow up, you don't need it. You don't have the requirement to process it.
Yeah.
But that's why whole milk. And then you have all the fats as well. So like obviously store-bought milk is defatted and then refatted again to a certain percentage to meet certain standards. So you're getting a highly nutritious food straight from the source when you get cow's milk.
Yeah.
And
Well, and I think it's more bioavailable because our
Absolutely.
body knows what to do with it.
But another podcast that I heard recently talked about fats in your diet, and they say that beef fat, and a lot of say plant-based fats are really negative for your diet. Just the byproducts that they produce in your body can't process them. They're really negative.
Yeah.
But beef fat or cow
Like
fat
tallow.
from say organic beef, just the fat that's inherent in beef,
Yeah.
is like in terms of cardiovascular health is neutral. So it doesn't it doesn't degrade your cardiovascular health.
Yeah.
Milk fat, on the other hand, promotes cardiovascular health.
Yeah.
So when you get it from the store, people who are like, oh no, we have to get away from like milk and go to nut milks and whatever else.
Soy
like
milk.
but all of those fats that are involved in those milks they're inherently doing you a disservice.
Yeah.
We could go very deep on the whole nutrition and the nutritional industry and food as a whole, but I do feel like that's another podcast.
Yeah, that's another podcast.
Oh, and we're going to do that.
But yeah,
that's the thing. Like, I don't go by that. I'm not a very sciencey mind, but I don't know whether it's a female in me or whatever. I go by feel and what, and sort of, as well. A lot of women talk, right? So. We'll be at footy training or wherever we are, and it's like, oh, so and so's got this allergy, or they're so and so's got an egg allergy, or this, that, and the other, and I'm just like, is it the actual whole food that they're allergic to, or is it like the fact that they've taken it and they've taken bits out and they've powderized this and put it in there, and we eat very, very much from the land. Like, we don't eat a lot of processed food. And now it's the point where we will go, oh, remember the days of Hungry Jacks? You'd stop in and you'd have one.
Oh,
and everyone's like,
I
don't feel good. Like,
like, I mean, I haven't eaten any McDonald's, any fast food since I was 16.
Yeah, right.
So I just gave it. I was like, I just can't. I mean, financially as well, it's just like such a money pit for no actual return in terms of your.
But there's no nutrition.
But I've been very sporty my whole life.
Yeah.
So I still remember. You go past a McDonald's, the smell of the fries. It's like
gross.
It's like drugs. Like
it's
you
gross.
smell it and you're like, oh, I remember that. I remember what that tastes like. I know what that Big Mac was like.
I just wants to just.
I mean, I used to go in and we used to get vouchers like for like buy one get one free on Big Macs, and you just go in and smash 2 Big Macs as a 15-year-old. You know what I mean? And you're just like, oh, this is the life.
Yeah. But then
I remember that.
No, but once you're
at that age, no.
Yeah, you're like.
Well, at that age, you're probably not. Like,
but when you're clean and you try it again, I think that's the bit that for me.
Oh no, I would never. I mean, I would rather wait hungry till I got home.
Yeah.
Or like I just keep a supply of like dates or something in the car. Or
see, you're much more advanced than my children. My children are like, we're going home. I'm starving.
They're high burners. They're burning everything. They look at food and they're like.
So that's when we've got weak, and I'm like, oh fuck it. I know it's bad. I'm like, fuck it. Like, I'll just do it and I'll pull through. And I mean, I literally haven't done it in well over a year now. I'll pull through. I'll grab it, and everyone on the way home. Oh, I need to go to the toilet, Mum. They all needed crap. They all feel like shit because their bodies are not used to trying to process that.
No.
And I think once you do that, there's no way back. Like, you can't go to a homestead, have all the goodies, and then go, I bail.
Oh no,
it's too hard.
Well, your microbiome can't handle it. Your gut bacteria has completely changed. Like, I mean, again. Going back to some of the other podcasts that I listen to, they delve so deeply into like every aspect of health and that kind of thing. And they're talking about like how your microbiome changes with the food that you eat. So you're constantly feeding at McDonald's. The reason you get cravings for, I mean, we're only fast food. Let's just say fast food because not just McDonald's. That's just one that's in my mind. But it's the bacteria in your gut that will send out signals to your brain telling you that they're hungry. That then tells you that you're hungry.
Yeah.
So that's why you go there and you stock up on that food. You feel like rubbish, but your bacteria is like, yes, we've gotten our fix. You know, but if you don't have that from living here and then you're out and, you know, it's like say you go to a foreign country and you eat the food that's there. You might have a bad time the first couple of nights because your body's not used to digesting that kind of food.
Yeah.
So it wasn't Thai belly that time.
No, it literally, like people say like deli belly or whatever. It's like, you're just not used to eating the local food. Sure enough, sometimes the water that they use may not be sterile or whatever the case is, but they've said like if you live there long enough, your bacteria will adjust. It's just the gut bacteria you have are used to digesting Western food.
Yeah.
I mean Western food in terms of what we're doing living off of the land, but you know, you go to these places where they have spices and they use different sources for their foods and say they're still whole foods from their land. Yeah. You're not used to it. So,
still the same reaction.
Oh, absolutely, because your gut bacteria can't eat it. They're like, well, I can't eat that. It's just going straight through. And you're like, I'm in emergency right now.
But even if you go back to, like, say, people who live in suburbia.
Yes.
You know, say a family like our size in suburbia, how do you one financially feed
Oh,
the
I don't know
family.
how they're doing
I
it.
don't know.
You-
In this,
you know
in
what
this
I mean?
environment, I don't know how they're doing it.
So how
Absolutely not.
can you maintain?
We laugh about, Joseph said before, oh my God, how are they so tall?
Oh,
Noah
no,
is
yeah.
massive.
Beanpole.
But
Yeah.
how do you maintain, I guess, a good diet or dietary requirements when you're in the city?
Well, also I think it's down to like
It's
nutrient
interesting.
density as well. Like it's the
Yeah.
options that you're given. Like if you eat that fast food, oh, I've eaten, but I'm hungry an hour later again
Yeah.
because there's no actual your body's crying out for nutrients.
Yeah.
If you don't provide it with the nutrients, if you were to give that same person a portion of say steak or something like that that's like high nutrient density,
Yeah.
they're going to be fuller longer because their body has reached some kind of satiety.
Yeah.
This chemical signals in their body are saying you've eaten enough of X, Y, and Z. But if you could eat like 10 cheeseburgers and be like, I'm still freaking hungry. What's going on here? Because there's nothing in it.
Cool.
So people are wasting their money on the options they have available to them because they
Yeah.
don't have the education, they don't have the options available to actually make informed decisions about what they're eating.
Yeah.
So a lot of money's wasted in terms of that, and then kids grow up without the knowledge that they need to
Yeah.
help themselves.
That's
I
really
think we're
true,
heading
Joe.
down that
There's a
rabbit
lot-
hole again.
No, I know.
yeah,
I
but-
wanted to, and that's the thing. 'Cause
Again,
that's,
I think
for you and for us, I think that's the reason why we chose this
Absolutely.
lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
It's many factors. It has lots of pros, it has lots of cons, but it's hard work. But the benefits
Yeah.
from having your own meat. Like, look at us. We've got
well, not just meat, milk.
milk,
Eggs.
Yeah.
eggs, butter from that,
Yeah.
mead.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, go.
I think the
Quick.
thing is though that for me, do you remember
Yeah.
when how long have you been in Australia?
On and off since 2015.
Okay, so not probably not long enough to know. Remember the ads they used to put on our TV about vitamin A, vitamin B, and there was those
Yeah, Vegemite.
like no. They used to talk about nutrition on TV.
Yeah, right.
They used to tell us about washing our hands for germs and things like that, which would be totally go against the
That's
whole
a bit questionable,
COVID
yeah, but
narrative,
go on,
wouldn't it? Yeah. Anyway, my point is we used to do that, but now, in place of that, like what my kids will watch, we don't watch mainstream TV. It's not
Mm-mm.
allowed in my house. It's too negative.
I don't have a TV.
We do for learning. So when we want to use, I'm homeschooling Grace,
Mm-hmm.
so we want to learn like the food pyramid,
Oh yeah.
the whole dude, the food pyramid that they.
Don't get me started.
I'm
Please.
using
Yes.
Okay, I'm using a program that gives us our curriculum.
Yep.
And we go into health, and health says to us, buy a packet of Macca's biscuits. It literally tells us to do this. Then buy a packet of Coles biscuits, and I want you to eat them, look at them, all the things, and we want to assess them. And I just went,
Grace,
"Oh."
we're just looking. We're just looking.
No, I straight up went, I answered, like, I got her to answer the question homemade, and we made our own Anzac biscuits with our own whole products here.
Uh-huh.
And we were like, and even then, golden syrups from the shop, things like that.
Yeah.
We are still making it.
As much as you can. I mean, geez,
Exactly.
there's only so much you can do.
We didn't roll our own oats, okay? Let me just be clear.
Yeah, let the Quakers do that.
We got the size out. We cut we bashed them in buckets. and we
Anyway, the
rolled them.
point is,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
did make them from scratch, but yes, from shop ingredients.
Yeah.
However, I refuse to even put money into the big Arches and to Coles crappy biscuits. And then so when we answered that question, it was wrong. We weren't allowed to answer homemade was the better biscuit.
But
So
Yes,
again,
I've got so many opinions. I want to see this.
The
So
My
food
agenda-
clearly.
pyramid has changed from when we were kids.
yes,
Yeah, the food pyramid's a load of shit.
of
Yeah.
course, I do know
Absolutely.
that.
That's
But
what
what
I
I'm
mean.
saying
Oh,
is,
God.
I'm talking about the agenda and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
wheels
yeah,
of the
yeah.
agenda being
Yeah.
quite heavily like
Greased.
greased.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
And not with lard or tallow. Not with the good
no,
stuff.
it's canola oil.
Canola all the way down. Maybe
Sorry.
some sunflower in there too.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, right? So so we're all aware of this, and our children are aware of this, and other than I know we've talked a few times about raising kids and how you want to do it on the farm, and you want to have that lifestyle for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, given the choice of being on the homestead or in the city and raising kids, like for me personally, I wouldn't have even had kids knowing what I know if I was forced to live in the city financially or any of those things.
Yeah.
No way.
I just don't think I could do them justice
Mm-hmm.
and give them the best life. And I mean, that's why we have kids, right? Like,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
do the best we can for them. So you know, like, is that in your future? Is that something you want to do?
I mean, for me, that's something I've always thought about. Like, that's one of the reasons why I've moved out to where I move. Whether I have kids or not is up for debate. Obviously, there's more than my own
your
opinion.
Beautiful
All my
partner.
more than my own
Yeah,
decision
of course.
there. Yeah, it's something we do talk about. But I just don't see. You'd have to have some heavy intervention with kids.
Yeah.
And for them to grow up in, say, a city environment, and for you to tell them, yeah, you know, everything you're learning, ignore all that.
It's hard. It's very
And
hard.
then, you know, like, sorry, yeah, your friends that are of the same wavelength, they're an hour away, so you know, the people that you're growing up around are all, like, mindless zombies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how do you parse that?
And even to the point,
So-
that's a lot of energy just even to go into that. You go into work and then you send him off to school.
Hopefully that they're
know.
not, yeah.
You don't know, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like homesteading as a movement is a breaking of the mold.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And that's why this is why I agreed
many
to do
aspects.
the podcast, for
Mhm.
example. This was Alex's idea. It was
Yeah,
not
yeah.
mine. I like YouTube.
This is much better for me.
Yeah.
Better.
You like podcasts more,
I
don't
love podcast. I mean, I listen. Yeah, this is obviously my first podcast I've ever been on. So thank
Yeah.
you very much for the invite.
He, he will be back.
I am very experienced in listening to podcasts.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I probably listen to. I don't really listen to music anymore unless I've run out of podcasts to listen to. But I've listened to podcasts.
We could officially call him our chemistry man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, well, I asked him questions. So it was actually Joseph that showed me the way to use Ivomectin to do the chickens.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So I made a YouTube video out of that,
Oh,
and it's
which
been
is good,
so
by the way.
well watched.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Ivomectin it won a Nobel Prize, didn't it?
Yeah, did you? Ivermectin, yeah, it's one of the best antimicrobial agents in the world. And
Oh.
people jumped on the horse dewormer aspect. It's like, yes, it does do that, but it does that alongside 100 other things that it does.
It's crazy how they told us all not to touch it and get
Yeah.
away from it. Anyway.
Yeah, even though it's like 100% safe. And I keep spraying it on myself by accident whenever I try and put it into a chicken.
Yeah,
They just
you're-
shake it off. And that's in my eye now. But, I guess I'm getting a good dose. The mites won't survive this week.
Well, this is the thing. It's so unconventional, and I get laughed at. But if someone gets nits in my home, guess who gets Ivomec on their head?
Absolutely.
You know?
Well, listen, we're all going
Absolutely.
out and we're ivermecting the the animals today. I want everyone to apply.
Stand near the list.
Don't be afraid to really get stuck into the
That's
ivermectin,
it.
folks. We do not need PPE.
Yeah, that's it. No PPE required when we're ivermecting.
So that's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
it's a totally different realm
Yeah.
that we're in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just understanding. It's understanding what you're dealing with, and
Yeah.
I guess that's for me. Having that chemistry background, really, I feel like I'm coming at it from a completely different angle than a lot of people. Like, a lot of people will have grown up with the experience, but I feel like they're like, yeah, oh, it just works, and I'm
Yeah.
like, well, why does it work?
Yeah.
What's the actual underlying mechanism for why that works?
Yeah.
Is it safe? Yes, no. What can I do better? Or it's like, well, yeah, it works, but it's like, yeah, could you improve it?
Yeah.
Because like the science, I mean, there's a lot of debate about a lot of science involved in anything,
Yep.
but it's understanding it
Yeah.
and understanding whether it's sound or not. For me, I come at everything from that kind of perspective, and I feel like I'm willing to share with anyone any
Yeah.
information,
For
or even
me-
if it's something I don't know about, I'm willing to look it up for someone and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
explain to them why it works or doesn't work, or
Yeah.
whatever the case may be.
For me, when the media or the news go, oh, this is not a good, I just kind of go,
Opposite.
something-
I'll
that's
go the
something-
other way.
that's
Yeah.
something worth looking into right there.
Well, so this is why my
Even just looking at it, maybe they're right, maybe they're not, but
Well, no.
when they don't give you the reasons, they're just like outright believe us when we say it. It's like, you've
Just
given
how,
us a lot of reasons
just
not
how
to.
cheap and all that. Do you
Well-
want to go into like our ivermectin from India?
no, we definitely don't.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, doing a market edit.
I won't, because
alright.
I'm very
I know,
raw
yeah,
with
yeah.
mine, and
But
I like
to-
honesty.
But just
and
Yeah,
how,
yeah.
but just how cheap it is, you know, just how.
we actually have a
easy-
doctor prescribing it to us, by the way.
Do you?
We have a doctor.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can pass you details, but he's
Yeah.
a doctor, and it's amazing. It's,
Oh yeah.
So that's what we use,
and it's
but
nice. No,
India's good.
literally just.
I use India.
But just
for other things.
cheap. Just cheap, man.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, like-
yeah. No, it's actually what it should be.
yeah, but
Yeah.
also he isn't. Okay, this is bad.
It's,
I'm going
sorry,
well
it's one of
down.
the most widely used medicines in Africa.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
right?
It's
I think
not
that-
just
yeah.
that. This person that I use he's a fully qualified doctor.
Yeah.
But the point is, he asks the questions about nutrition and sleep and all that stuff first. He's a doctor we don't have here. Wait a minute. Yeah, what's that about? I've been to them.
Is that part of it, is it?
I've been to loads of them here. I have 5 kids. Of course I've been to all the doctors and whatnot. The amount of doctors that will poo-poo chiropractic, I'm like, far out.
Oh, sorry. Chiropractic is the reason that I can ride my bike again. Yeah. It's the reason I don't have a vertebra out of place. It's considered
an alternative medicine. You know
that? Alternative to the money-making mainstream.
Exactly.
Put a bit of cashless symbols against it, and we're good to go.
If that's like, I found it to be quite beneficial, exceptionally beneficial. Like, I wasn't able to ride my bike for 5 years.
I was put out of place. I nearly died having Brock, and I was put out of place physically while they tried to remove him.
Yeah.
And everything went wrong for me.
Oh, of course.
Until I was realigned.
Yes.
And he's a magic man, overnight was a different person.
I've had my sacroiliac joint out of place for 5 years. So trying to get that back in, and it only happened in January of this year. That's when I started cycling again.
Wow.
Like,
okay.
Again, it's also, I do a lot of yoga. So I was doing a lot of yoga up until now. And all of that is contributing towards it, like helping the muscles relax and all that kind of thing. And making sure your joint is able to be put back in. Because, I mean, cycling beforehand, all of your muscles are so tight. It's hard to get the movement that you need.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like...
Well, I did want to go into
alternative medicines, I don't understand why they're automatically written off. Like, anytime I tell anyone, like, I tell my friend who has he was knocked off his bike in a group ride by a driver of a car who just drove straight into the bunch of cyclists. And he did a somersault through the air, and he's had back problems ever since. He lives, like, 500 meters from my chiropractor. And I said, look, I'll pay for you to go. And he's like, oh, will you read my tarot cards while I'm there?
Oh,
and I'm
my
like,
God.
Maybe, but that's not the attitude you need to approach it. Like,
if you're lucky.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, in all seriousness, he still has back problems. Like...
Because he won't go.
And he was full-time cyclist as well.
So when we say cyclist, just for people listening...
A racing cyclist. Like,
you're like a proper athlete cyclist.
Full-time cycling, your life is basically... Your job is to go and cycle your bike for free.
Yeah.
so
we're talking...
It's not lucrative.
I'm giving background.
I love Joseph, but the boss, you know...
The Lycra Army.
The Lycra Army's out there.
Well, you wouldn't have liked me if I had actually come on my bike today.
I would have loved
it. We would embrace it.
We love you anyway. It does not matter.
Oh, no, I don't really care. I'm going to roll regardless.
Yeah. Canola Classic, guys. Canola Classic.
I was just going to say that. We have been playing with
I'll
Joseph a bit, saying, hey, there's a Canola Classic that happens in our area.
Bit of banter. Yeah.
But... You know, like, you do ride quite some Ks. Like, you're not just getting on a push bike and going down the road to the shops. No. You're literally doing kilometres.
I mean, by comparison to what I used to do, like, I was doing upwards of 500 Ks a week.
See, that's incredible, man. Like,
I don't even do that.
People like me that had, like, I guess you know, the Lycra.
There's such a bad stigma.
It's a dichotomy. There's a huge. Yeah.
I
mean, there is.
You sit down and talk and hear about the
a lot of cyclists don't give cycling a good name either. Like, there's both sides to it, but you do have so many bad drivers who just. You don't understand that cyclists are not holding you up on the roads for the most part.
No.
Like, all you have to do is.
It's like
as soon as on the accelerator and you are past.
It's like
you don't need to almost clip them with your mirror at the same time, though.
Yeah.
Like, for me personally, I don't mind. People can close past me, whatever. I'm just so... I've had so many of those experiences, and just as a cyclist, my reflexes are fine.
Yeah.
But I can understand, like, someone who's just, like, all they do is commute to work on their little, bike or whatever.
Yeah.
I've always found them crazy as well, but I mean, you do, like...
No, but that's what I mean, though. They don't have the experience or, like, road craft.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah. Because there was where I work in the Murchison between Kew and Meekatharra, obviously Noah and Joseph and that. I was seeing this bloke. He had all his saddlebags on, and he was and out there you're not dealing with cars, you're dealing with road trains,
triples,
all that stuff.
He's riding for a cause though.
Man, bearded up, and he's cruising.
Yeah.
I'm just like, mate.
He's riding for a cause.
Yeah.
Chuck the horn on, big wave at him.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think at the end of the day, like, we just have to respect each other as human beings. Like, that's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
And I just feel like is it worth is
Hurting
it
another
worth
human.
nearly killing someone
Yeah.
because you feel affronted in some way when you have 2 lanes to use and you still decide to almost hit them?
I think
Yeah.
it's the light.
Or-
Listen, honey, he's stuck on the Lycra.
Bogans will be bogans.
Do you know what it is? Yeah, that's right. It's because he can see your package in full definition.
That's it.
all it
That's
is.
it.
Where's your beer gut, mine?
Yeah.
Did you pack that tonight?
That's it. But it is, like, and
It's, yeah. There's many sides to that story. That in itself would be another podcast, as we always say.
Another
I mean,
podcast.
Jesus
I
Christ,
need a
yeah.
button for
But
that.
even
Yeah.
But just the distance,
Another
right? The
podcast.
distance you got to go, like where I've
Yeah.
seen this bloke going between Kew and Meg there, that's K's
And
and
it's
K's.
hot.
Oh
and
yeah.
dry.
I mean, like, so I guess one of the things we did in the past, I went to Belgium to race. So I spent with my team that I was racing here. We went to Belgium I went for 2 months. My team went for 1 month, and I stayed on after they left. But we cycled, I think it was 80 kilometers to get to a race. Raced 120 kilometers and cycled 80 kilometers home.
I just
And then
that as
race-
more beer. You can
And
have
then
more
race the
beer.
next day. Like, because we were racing non-stop. Obviously, you're over there, you want to maximize it. Like, you were absolutely in the horrors the next day. But,
Yeah.
you know, when you're training and that's what you do,
Yeah.
that it's not a big deal. If for asking anyone who has never cycled that far to go and do it, like,
I'd be lucky
it's
to get
obviously a
down the
huge
driveway
ask.
here.
It's obviously a huge ask. I mean, but your body is so attuned to it if that's what you do.
Yeah.
You're training for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if I couldn't do it,
Yeah.
I'd be asking questions.
Yeah.
Well, so this is the thing.
But
You
it's also health and fitness. And
you
all
were
of that
doing
too.
all that
Yeah.
prior to your homesteading, and now you're
Yeah.
eating off the homestead
Yeah.
predominantly. So
Mhm.
is that why you're super keen to get back into it? Because you think like your body will definitely do better.
There's so many
nutrition-wise.
facets of it, like even just mental health. I find like going for a 3-4 hour bike ride, it just gives you so much
Endorphins.
latitude to clear your head. Think about problems. Don't have a podcast on, don't have music on. Just go out and ride your bike, and any problems you have, you'll think about, any things that come to mind. You know, you just focus on the road in front of you. And even just at the end of it all, you know, when you're physically tired, you're like, you don't have the energy just to worry about things, or,
Wow.
you know, I find it is very good for mental health. And that's one thing I've been missing over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Like even doing, so I do hot yoga, Bikram yoga. Even doing that is just not enough.
What's
how
involved?
intense
What's
that
involved
is.
in that? What's
It's like yoga in a sauna.
far out?
Yeah.
You have to invite me one day.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
Yeah.
I've
There's
got a
no
free
light
pass.
grass.
Oh,
There's
there-
no lycra.
But there's a lot of short shorts.
Man, I'm the king.
Mandatory.
I'm king of short
Have
shorts.
you not met the footy shorts?
No footy shorts. No footy shorts. Like
Oh,
tight,
short
like
shorts.
Speedos.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We'll have to give that a whirl.
Front row.
Front row.
What people couldn't hear was the wink across the table. We have had enough lead right now.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So yeah, I think
Yeah,
I've always wanted to get back to it. It's a lot of it is a timing issue as well, because like when you're trying to set up a farm, and I mean, when I look at it, I could be doing so much more on the farm in
Yeah.
terms of where I spend my time, but would I be getting the benefit from it, and
Yeah.
then would I wear myself out more?
Yeah.
Like I think one of the biggest things that people don't realize when you get a farm is how little time you actually have. You really have to budget time, and sleep is one of the big problems. Like
Yeah.
sleep for me
Oh,
is the worst.
me too.
Yeah. Night owl.
Yes, night owl.
Me too.
And that's one problem with work.
Yeah.
That I wake up at night. I can work all night.
Yeah.
Evening comes around, I will happily punch out 8 hours till 4 in the morning,
Yep,
and
same.
no problem doing that. But
He's the opposite.
society does not like people working at night, apparently. So.
Yeah.
Well, he's a shift worker, so there's
Yeah.
there's nights and there's days.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
predominantly on days now.
But you're
Yeah,
forced into that. You're
days.
forced into that situation. Like if
Yeah.
you were, it's like
I'm an
Oh,
early
you want-
riser.
you want more productivity.
Yeah.
I'm actually really productive at 8 p.m. Like
Yeah.
starting my day at 8 p.m. I'm super.
I'm the
productive.
most productive at midnight.
At night.
in my
yeah,
flow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Oh,
I feel like for me the way I've thought about it is like during the day everything is so busy, you're just so inundated with everything. When everything darkens down, that's when your
Quiets.
brain can focus. That's just the way I see it.
Yeah.
So
The-
yeah, I got a
the
lot of good
noise
project work done at
stops.
night. Yeah. Yes.
The
That's what I
external
mean.
noise
Yes. Yeah.
is just gone.
I just know if I do sort of like 3 o'clock, my 3 o'clock man,
Mhm.
and then you get to that
He
8
gets
o'clock
to
at
6
night.
or 7,
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
done.
Done.
Yeah.
Like I just
Zoe's the
fully
same.
just shut
Cooks.
it.
8 p.m. she's in bed.
How weird is it that we end up with the opposite
Absolute
person?
opposite.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
we're in the studio now where I record my podcast, but this is
mhm.
actually where I sleep most of the time when he's home. Because he's a shift working miner that has sleep apnea and doesn't want to wear his mask. So I'm like, I live out here.
I wear me mask.
No.
I wore me mask last night.
Oh, well.
Oh.
Jackson
I
would
just
have
wake up in the morning and you're like, what are you doing? Quiet.
No, but like he comes out, good morning, babe, at like 6. I'm like, I went to bed 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
I was editing a video like all night or
Mhm.
something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's the thing. I'm the one that goes out late night with Brock because Brock's a night person as well.
Mhm.
So we'll go out and we'll check for foxes and shoot
Yeah.
foxes because that's when they're active.
Yeah.
So that's
also-
productivity for me.
It's also cooler at night here.
It's so much cooler. So much more can be done.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I see that and he's like, oh, you're wasting your hours away. You know, it's sleep time. I'm like, yeah, for you.
Yeah.
But it's not for me. That's not my...
Do you know what I can do? Curtains. Curtains make the room dark during the day.
Look around.
That's exactly
It's
right.
so great.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so he says this thing about body clock, but I was given this body clock. Like, this is my body
absolutely.
clock.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
It's your biology. Absolutely.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think also that's gone into where I've worked as well. I've always been in hospitality and night times and that sort of thing. And I guess
Same.
my body led me there
Mhm.
because that's who I am.
Mhm.
But he's always been doing this. So it's like
Mhm.
trying to understand that other person is really tough,
Mhm.
I think.
Different
That's,
strokes
Oh,
for different
absolutely.
folks.
Yeah. Yeah.
that's been our biggest hurdle here on the farm.
Mhm.
Not really. There's been lots of big hurdles.
Oh, there's so many big hurdles.
Yeah.
That's a
I
question I, wanted
think-
to ask
Okay.
Joseph.
Yeah.
I
Hurdles.
think that's like, going back to that is about balance.
Yeah.
Yes, I could throw myself right into this farm, and as soon as I get home, I do fencing, I do this, I do that, and I just keep it. But it's just
But you've
mentally
just
you got
worked
to.
as
But you also
solid
have to
You gotta enjoy
it.
recover. You have to rest
Yeah.
and recover as well. Like I mean,
Yeah.
you're working a full-time job
Yeah.
on site, so your time back here is essentially your time off to recover.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's my weekends too. I work
Yeah.
9 to 5 essentially, or 10 to 6 Monday to Friday. So it's
There'll be something important enough that will come up that you need.
you have to do
Oh,
it.
yes. But
You'll
you have
you'll
to
have
make
to do
space
it
for
sometimes
rest.
at 9 a.m. before work, and then call your boss and say, "Yeah, I just had to refence something."
Yeah.
They're like, "You
I
have
was
a job
chasing
to
a
go
buck down the
to."
road that my
I
friend
was
gave me.
chasing 15 of them down the road, and I didn't get 2 of them, so I don't know where they are.
Yeah.
But
That's a job for
But-
tonight after work.
not even. I never got them back. Sorry to all the crops out there that got destroyed.
and I'm just blessing my neighbour with a free goat.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
That's
And
why
then
we
it's a
can't get
balancing
potbelly
act
pigs
with-
in Australia.
trying to get work to understand. It's just like, oh, are you committed to your job? I'm like, I'm here every day. I've never taken a sick day.
Yeah.
Until
It
you
is.
gave me COVID, and then I had to take 5 days off. Even
Yeah.
then, I took my laptop home in case.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
And while I was at home with COVID, I was running my farm full time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
who else is getting out to do it?
Exactly. Who else?
That's right. There isn't
There
anyone.
is one.
So I think that was one of my questions. So where you started with your 10 acres,
Yeah.
it had a house and
Mm.
it had some very rundown infrastructure.
Oh,
There was a nice little
some
shed.
nice purpose-built shed.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
But as far as the little back
Oh,
pens and stuff, you've
yeah.
had to do a lot of work on that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah, still, I mean,
And
sorry, there's a lot of work yet to be done.
Ongoing. It's
there
always
always
ongoing.
is. There always is.
Yeah.
But so I guess
Yeah.
what is your? Because I know you won't leave the farm. It's not your thing to leave the farm.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, let's
Oh.
get it out. Let's
Maybe.
talk.
It's an ongoing discussion with Zoe.
Okay, because she doesn't love
well,
it.
about our future, like, you know what I mean? So
Is it more location? Will you relocate to another property?
that is part of the discussion that we're
Yeah.
having at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah. So is it a new property, or is it somewhere where we can move back to later, or keep the property as an investment property and then have it?
Yeah. Right.
But again, it's just there's a lot more to discuss about that, just in terms of financials. But
And that's crazy. Like, that's just how the cookie crumbles, isn't it?
It
Like,
does.
there's
We've
pathways and-
we've talked about it. Like I never thought we would ever subdivide anything and
Yeah.
sell off any of our property because we
But
want to be
now-
able to leave some for our 5 kids.
yeah.
But now we're like,
they can fight over it.
But then we're talking about it.
well,
In a sense,
so
well,
you know,
it's-
if we got the other side and we put that on the market, we could actually be debt free. We could sell
well,
that and be
it's
completely
a
debt free.
huge. I mean, you really have to look at all. I think you'd be stupid not to look at all your options that are available and then work through them one by one. And even like, okay, say it does come down to us selling this property.
Yeah.
The next property that I buy that is similar will be either better located, will be in better condition, or, you know, I'll be more informed about making that decision. I don't really want to leave the property. Like, there's a reason I bought it. I have so many ideas about what I want to put into that property. You know, a small vineyard, a small orchard, all of my own fruit trees, have all my own animals.
And you've kind of started that too, so it's like it's a heart project then.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But it's just at the moment, like, I guess just where we are in our lives, like, I hate when people say, oh, like, you could do it in retirement. I was like, why would I wait until then? Yeah. Until I'm too old to do anything.
You're busted.
Well, not just that. What are we eating?
Yeah,
all
until
that
then.
Stuff in the meantime.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So I mean, there's so many things to think about, and can you make it work? Like, and then I mean, it comes down to like, is this relationship right? Like that also has to be factored in, and we've had those discussions too.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
Because you guys are so great together.
We are, but that's also why it hasn't just been a let's cut and run, like you know. So yeah, like you really have to look at every aspect of it and make sure that it is the right choice. Because, I mean, one video I always think back on is one of Justin Rhodes' videos where he talks to when he's doing that farm tour, I think.
Yes.
And he sees a young family where the father and husband is more into it, and he's doing the sheep. I can't remember the name of it. I meant to look it up.
I know the one you're talking about. I can't remember the name of it either.
But he follows up later when the relationship is broken down. The wife has moved back to the city. They've gotten divorced. She has custody of the kid, and he's gone into like some savage depression. Yeah. Right. And it really just goes back to pushing something because he wanted to do it when she didn't want to do it.
And did he have regrets then because he couldn't see enough into the future?
I'd have to go back and watch it. I watched it a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
But that is something that kind of stays in my mind about not making it that far. Like,
because
having that sacrifice be something that down the track ends up worse off for you.
Oh yeah.
Like, Zoe is a big part of your heart, and
absolutely.
So, you know, if it doesn't really work, and I mean, it only doesn't work not because she's not trying either. It's like location, really.
But it's also the world that we live in.
Absolutely.
Like, her job is so far away that she has to commute 2 hours to get there.
Yeah.
And then does she stay in the city, or, you know, is there extra cost involved in just trying to make all of that work for the sake of holding on to a farm that may or may not be viable, or like. I was hoping not to kind of go all into this today. Well, I don't mind doing it.
It goes where it goes.
No, but it's just more about, like, there's so much to think about and talk about.
Yeah,
we even haven't fully fleshed it out. Like, this is when I told her I was coming on the podcast, that would we talk about this or not? Because it is also kind of disappointing in the same way that if it does go down that route of having to sell up, like, I get so much enjoyment out of it. But again,
could you do it on a micro scale? Or,
but even looking at my job, though, like, if I had no job, I would have no problems.
I know, but
if we're financially independent, but like, you know what I mean? Like that time, it's the time aspect to spend it. It's like, okay, do I just keep puttering away for the next 10 years,
but
not getting much done because
up
I know,
and move it somewhere that's 20 minutes down the road for you.
Yeah, I know.
And 30 minutes for Zoe, she would move in there.
Yeah, like we're looking at, say, I mean, the housing market at the moment is all over the place.
Yeah, I hate to get
so, which is a good time to be selling.
Yeah.
That's right, and that's a big factor because what you purchased your property for, could you make enough that would make a big difference for you? Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe the farm isn't worth hanging on to.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if there was a compromise, because, you know, again, like, who you partner with to live this life is the main factor. Like we talked about before off air, that Alex gets really bad hay fever, and you said Zoe does as well. So
well, we weren't even, like, I guess my idea of a place was going to be near the beach.
He wanted to live in a normal little house at the coast.
Zoe's a beach person.
Because he doesn't get hay fever at the beach.
Yes. I was just like, you know what, it's a happy place and all that stuff, and I just wanted
but nothing grows there.
Nothing.
No.
And you can't keep cows there. It's
So much salt.
It's so much salt, right?
Too much salt.
But you know
So,
what?
like-
But even like say
Yeah.
5 years ago, or
Mhm.
we wouldn't even when we did our first podcast, me and you talking about each
Yeah.
other, we didn't even see ourselves even getting this.
No.
So I guess every
Mm.
year, like years go by,
Mhm.
stuff's changing, man.
Yeah.
The world's changing, ideas change.
I think
But, I
though.
mean,
Perspective
but you have
change.
to be open to change as well.
Absolutely,
A
yeah.
part of the thing with I guess me and Zoe is that we only started our relationship as I was purchasing the property.
Oh.
Pretty not. I mean, it was very young. Like we were in our first year, and I was
Right.
already down the track of living in the city, and I had eyes on buying a property somewhere, and
Right.
I was already looking, and it was like, so we dated each other about I can't remember now, 5 years ago or so, and then she moved to Sydney, so it was only like we dated for like a month or two. We always kind of kept in very occasional contact, and then when she came back, we kind of just were hanging out again, and then we didn't know if it was gonna last or not, and obviously it has.
Yeah.
So at the time, I was like, well, this is what I want to do, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
But had the relationship been further along, it would have been more of a joint decision
Yeah.
rather than my decision.
Yeah, yeah.
And then she graduated uni and then got her job, which happened to be down in bloody Fremantle, so it's like miles and miles and miles
Yeah.
and miles away.
So you could
So-
essentially go south, really. Where
Yeah.
does
Yeah,
your
but-
mate
but-
Rod live?
but look at the-
Wundazone or something like that. I think.
Yeah,
Certain
he's down in Byford.
Mardella.
Yeah,
Something like
Byford
that.
areas.
So
Yeah,
that-
Byford. Yeah.
That would work then.
But look at the even pricing. I guess that all comes
That's the
into it.
pricing
Like,
thing.
we try to look down south, man. And,
Yeah.
oh, ouch.
Like we couldn't even get 20
Ouch.
acres for what we got this for.
No.
Not a chance.
Mm-mm.
5 acres.
We're looking in the mills,
Yes.
millions,
Yeah,
and I'm
yes.
like, what?
Yeah.
I don't want to be in debt to the bank forever.
On a
Like-
farm that is like, it's
Not even
really,
it's a micro farm. It's like 5 acres.
but in terms of money generation, like
Oh,
what I mean, It's
money
not
does
like
not
it's churning
generate.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, especially now that you're not allowed to sell raw milk and all of those sorts of things. How
Yeah.
do you make money on a farm? Forget about it.
Oh, you sell bat milk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
But I don't even think that, like that,
But also
it makes
hay.
money, but it
We can
doesn't.
sell
yeah,
oat
yeah,
hay now
yeah.
for
Yeah.
$20 a bale. I didn't realise
But
it was
also-
up that high.
But also, go into the city, you can sell. You see, if you go onto Facebook, you'll see people selling like they've obviously bought a few bales of hay, and then they rebag it for people who have like 1 guinea pig or 2 guinea pigs, and they'll
I
sell
know,
them
man.
a bin
Oh,
bag of hay
dude.
for because that whenever you search for hay and all that stuff comes up, I'm like, can we just filter that nonsense out? I'm
Oh.
looking for like farm scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
Well, I'm
for
looking-
your little bag of $20 hay that's actually $1 worth of hay.
Well, even
Anyways,
just
That's,
Just-
mate, those people are entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I respect the hustle. It's just not
Yeah.
helping me when I'm
That's
absolutely
right.
stretched for hay.
I respect the hustle too. I'm like, that's genius.
Because I come up, like Mel woke up one morning and I come out to him like, chicken shit. She's like, what? I said, chicken shit. That's the next big thing. And so I looked at like say from a big company, egg farming,
Mhm.
10 cube is 7 ton,
Yeah.
right? You can get 10 cube for $50.
Mhm.
So I thought, okay, I'll get 50 cube
Yeah.
delivered, and then you look at 25 kilo bags of rooster booster,
at Bunnings.
Yeah.
$26, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah.
He goes,
Oh.
babe, do you reckon you could bag all of those chaff bags that you've got out there into like chicken poo? He's seeing the dollars.
And then I went on eBay. I'm thinking I can sew these bags up. I can get like
You
a
got
honey bag.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know. You're looking at every aspect of it, obviously.
Oh,
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
because
yeah,
it's
yeah,
out of
yeah.
desperation, right?
Absolutely.
We're already going to use the chicken poo because actually the guy we bought hay off last,
Mm.
he lives close by here, and we have to
Yeah.
shop within a sort of small radius because ryegrass toxicity is a real issue in your feed, and we know that this area doesn't have it.
Yeah.
So we bought hay off this local guy, and he has just switched in the last 3 years to
Culture.
chicken poo instead of superphos, which is
Oh,
what they
yeah.
always use on their massive farms,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they've
yeah,
got
yeah, yeah.
acreage.
Yeah.
Trust me. He's using chicken poo, and he goes,
Yeah.
mate,
They
I've been
test the
doing
soil.
it 3
They
years.
test the soil.
He said, I have mushrooms growing in all my fields.
Mushrooms are good.
Right?
You want the shrooms, mycorrhizae, shrooms, fungi. That's
That's
the
where
move.
it's at.
That's
the
why we
move.
said, we were so excited because these are
Yeah.
big time farmers. You know
Yeah.
when you move to a place
Yeah.
and there's a name It's been associated with that town forever. It's one of the big names. I won't name them, but in this town, there's the name, and they are one of them. And the fact that they're diversifying and looking into regeneration it gives me so much hope.
But do you know why? Because it's not hitting their pocket.
Exactly, it's
because
dollars and cents.
It makes so much sense to do it.
And he was saying, like,
it's fantastic.
You're using a waste product.
Yeah.
Great. I don't care why it's come about.
But he was saying, like, just the soil samples, he's like the microbe activity, like everything.
Yeah.
Like everything
because it's
back.
coming from the guts of the animals.
So he's like, you know,
his mind is in that realm now.
Yeah. He needs to listen to that podcast I told you about earlier.
I'll put him onto
Regenerative Agriculture Podcast.
We are not sponsored.
Yeah.
just so that everyone
don't need to be sponsored. You just need to listen to it.
Yeah, it's well worth a listen. We're going to go do that because we haven't listened.
Yeah,
and everything
down.
you've said is so on point. But it brings me so much hope and so much joy. And again, I think that's where this whole podcast circles back to community and conversations and opening up the space for a chat. Like when you go to purchase anything or get anything free, you know, guinea pigs on Gumtree or whatever, how many of those relationships have you maintained? And because they add value to your life, you know, you like the people. You said before that you trade milk for things with people, and you've been up late at night drinking piss with them, and you love them. They've become friends
with
of
their
yours.
homemade grappa.
Yeah.
17 shots later.
Me.
But do you know what I'm saying? It's like
they
are the. I remember one time we went down to see Lauren and
the Brasola.
Yeah, and we
dreaming
sat
about that Brasola.
so we
Jersey
sat in their
Brasola.
kitchen. And he's actually my AI tech. I use him all the time for disbudding and all the things, and I love them. I think they're great people. But again, they're doing the same thing, and we would never have known about it if it wasn't for a conversation we had, you know, over a cow pen. And then he said, come back to my place. And we went back there, and we sat and we enjoyed, they made pea wine. Remember they made it out of their pea pods? Pea pod wine.
Was it good?
She said, give it to them. It's disgusting. She hated it.
It was all right.
It was all right.
Okay.
Let's just say the mead's ahead of it right now.
High five.
But they had the cheese as well.
They had the cheese and they had their aged meats. So we have some aged meats in our fridge there.
Yeah, we've got it going on.
Big leg of prosciutto ready to be cut into.
Not ready.
I did see that.
Not almost. Yeah.
We've got the other stuff though. We can
But yeah, I mean, the people that you meet, I think just having conversations, like not everyone, some people are just like, okay, here's the thing, goodbye.
Yes.
But if you get talking to them, like the families that I drop off, like eggs and stuff too, they're very. I like listening to people's story.
Yes.
Like just hearing where they come from, how they've one of the families, they had to leave because of conflict. They grew up in a different country. Their family emigrated because of a conflict.
Wow.
I won't be very specific about it.
No good.
And look, getting to where they are today, and they're successful people, like one generation on, and they have their own kids, and how they're trying to bring up their kids.
That's beautiful.
They are actually very much of this mindset, but they live in Bayswater.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they live in the city, but they're really like it's kind of funny because they were just like, maybe we should just trade. Like you can take our house and we'll take your property.
And they will steward it well, and you can switch back when it's time.
Oh yeah.
They won't want to go back.
No.
You'll lose your farm.
It was obviously more of a joke, but like getting along with those kind of people and just the connection that you make with them, and you know, it so happens that they know the person that I've now holding their sheep. So from a different person, the same neighbor from the city has a friend who needed to put his sheep, his brother was selling his property, so he needed to put some sheep somewhere, put them on my property, and then this family was talking to that guy saying, yeah, we dropped like sheep out to some guy out there, like, because they knew, like, they obviously found out that they're getting stuff from me, and I live in a certain place, so...
Must be the same guy.
It was the same guy. Yeah,
no,
that was exactly the same guy. And they were just like...
It's that one crazy Irish farmer. It's got to be the same guy.
Yeah. Seriously. It's just like such a small world. I mean,
it is.
It's a big small town.
Yeah.
So.
Also, and that's the thing, like, the amount of connections I've made, like, I'm going to get Jack on. Jack bought one of my cows, and she's living off-grid completely on a property in Narrogin and had literally never done any farming ever. Everything's brand new to her. And she's got a special needs child and things like that. But, you know, when someone's open to having that conversation can be so valuable to you, you know, in so many ways.
Yep.
And I think that's why I started the podcast. And Alex,
that's why I dig it, man. Because I listen to podcasts myself, and you hear some of the stories and that, and you're like, yeah, this is awesome. Like, they'll delve in a bit of deep, and they'll go for a bit of factual, and then they'll have their
But
experiences.
even if it's just a story, it may inspire someone that's thinking about it. Like, I'll give you a brief story. I had someone want to collab with me recently on my YouTube because they have just bought into a business that their family owned for 50 years prior, but they have no idea about what to do to diversify because the product they sell doesn't need any servicing at all. It's like it takes care of itself. So he said, what's the point? Like, how am I going to make sales? Anything we've ever sold them in the last 50 years doesn't need anything else.
Don't break. Yeah.
So we had a chat because he wanted to step into the new, social media realm and all that sort of stuff. And I sort of said, oh, well, how did you find me? And he's like, oh, we've watched your YouTube for ages. He was very excited. And I was like, but you live in the city and the business that you're buying is in a country town in the Wheatbelt. So I'm confused. Like, do you not want to move to the country? And she was sort of very hesitant and dubious. And they've got very small children that she wants to homeschool and live this life.
Yep.
And it was literally over a conversation that they made a decision to sell the place in the city and they're moving just outside where they're buying the business.
Yep.
Yes, I felt that. I was like, oh, that was my fault.
If it bites you, I'm not responsible.
Well, I did message him and I did message him and
Absolutely.
say, is this my fault? And he was like, yes. And they were so excited. And it was like they were able to realize a dream because they saw another just normal human like them living it, not like...
It's not just some like, oh, it comes from a farmer after farmer generation. It's just like, well, that's what they do. They're the farmers.
Yeah, and they've known it their whole life.
Yes,
So
yeah.
Is this
exactly.
a movement? Is this a fad?
But I think,
100%.
But honestly, I don't think it's a fad. I do think,
No, but you know,
I think
it's a
so many
movement.
more people would buy into it if they could afford to do it.
Yeah.
Like, but even just afford to live.
But if they could afford, if they stepped out of fear mindset,
That's what, well, that's yeah.
right? So it doesn't have to look like what we did,
Mm-hmm,
right? It doesn't have to be 120 acres somewhere. It can be 5. If you're living on 700 squares and your dream is to farm and have animals, it can be on 5 acres.
Or it can be.
Did you hear that? You beautiful bankers out there.
Oh, bankers. Oh, that's the other thing you got to get around. That's a whole other podcast.
So they touch only a certain amount of acreage.
Yeah, okay, we're not going to go there.
Oh, we're
The
not
financial
going
advice podcast. Don't listen to us.
No, but I think it comes in so many different ways. And so where you are on the Australian homesteaders community that Amanda and I started, we talked about it in my chicken shed. And that's my whole point. We talked about there is no Australian homesteaders community where everyone is unified and helping each other. It's all in America.
Well, I also think a lot of people here just think they're the only one.
Ah,
That
yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
So you're kind of like an isolated fight. So when you do meet other people, I think that's why we clicked so much. It's like, oh, there's another one. There's another one in the wild.
I remember saying to you, I'd met a guy when I was at work, and he is Irish and homesteading in Bakers Hill, and he's now breeding Welsh horses in Bakers, right?
Yeah, right.
You might know of him.
I think I've probably passed his car
It's
on the way to.
It's a Subaru. Yeah, he's got a Welsh cob sticker on the back of his car.
But I think his license plate is like something. I was like, oh, that's like very Irish reference.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
and he's
anyway,
he's going into the city, so I was like, he's coming from my direction.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
That's
that
hilarious.
guy
Yeah.
shopped at and it was like, oh, I have to bleep that out. That guy shopped there and I was like, okay, I know someone. Like, I've met someone. I think you guys would get along really great. It's not just that you're Irish. It's that also...
The mindset. It's a mindset.
It's a mindset. And he was doing it and he's done chickens. He's done this, he's done all the things. And you're close by. So that happens to me more and more. And the more that I meet people in this realm, the less crappy people I meet. I just don't meet shit people in homesteading. We're all doing it with a very wholesome mindset of do unto others as you would have done unto you.
But I also think, like, even, okay, say you, like, Facebook Marketplace is the big go-to to find stuff.
Yeah.
Even the mindset of people, even though they're living in the city, it's like they have the mindset of people who either want to homestead or they have those kind of beliefs and ideas.
Yeah.
Because I've met so many people who, you know, they're doing their own thing. Like, one guy, I went to pick up, like, old Maconic coffee jars because he's part of a bowls club in the city, and they harvest all the olives outside the bowls club, and once a year all the old guys get together and process them by hand
and brine them.
and brine them and prep them, and then they sell them to fund the bowls club.
Oh, that's
They
me.
also take donations of jars from all of the members, but they can't use the Mocanas because
They don't have a
they don't
seal.
have they can't twist them on. So he resells them for money for the operation because they have to buy in all of like the olive oil and whatever else.
That's
And
amazing.
That's cool.
He's like an ex-professional footballer from his home country. You know, so talking to him, and then he's making his own. He's like, "Can you smell that?" And I was like, "Yeah, what is that smell?" And he comes over. He's like, "A dustbin full of homemade sauerkraut." Like he's a Croatian guy,
Wow.
and it's just, you know, it's that kind of stuff. But in the city, you know what I mean? Like, so people are trying to do the best they can. You know, like you go to someone's house and they got like 3 or 4 chickens in the back garden. It's like,
that's
you're kind of on that wavelength.
Yeah.
As soon as you've got a chicken,
Oh,
you've got all that stuff opens up to you.
absolutely. Like you got you got fruit trees. Oh, you know, like you're doing what you can where you can. You may not be able to afford to go out and, you know, find out. Like even me, I'm feeling pretty stretched with working in the city.
Yeah.
Like working an hour from my farm where I would love to spend all my time.
Oh, I know, man.
I'd love to be able to work from home.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just
Big
you're
community.
Well,
doing
I
what you can. You know, people are tied to their own routines
Yeah.
and the lifestyles they have to live. Maybe they're tied to their kids and their kids are there.
Sports and all the things.
Or even their spouses or whatever the case may be. Maybe they just live in the city and they want to kind of have the bridge between the two.
Yeah.
But, you know, they bring a lot of, I'd say.
Or they can't get the loan, or they don't quite meet the criteria, or they don't know where to start.
It's afraid to go out and do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Do it.
But this is the thing,
Do
right?
it.
Like,
Wherever you are, just
have
do
those
it.
communications and like make those connections.
Mm-hmm.
They're so valuable.
Yeah.
And to me, especially, like, I'll say to Alex, I met this guy. He was like, oh, here we go. Because
Yeah.
he's not a people person.
I'm trying to be.
I love people. I love people. I worked in hospitality all my life because I love people.
Yeah.
And, you know, some are shitty. I get that.
Absolutely.
But especially since I've stepped into homesteading,
Mhm.
I mean, I don't think I've disagreed with pretty much any of them.
Yeah, yeah.
In, you know, even if they're doing it differently, I don't care about that. You do you.
Mhm,
But,
mhm.
like, we can all enrich each other's lives, even in just knowledge or conversation or...
But I'm not someone that sits down and just, what are you doing there? Well, you know.
Yeah.
Go home, buddy.
Yeah, I know. But that's okay. And so...
YouTube, baby.
But then... I know that there have been times, and it would be at midnight or 1 o'clock, and Joseph and I are messaging each other about the time that we sat on the floor in the dirt and cried because the fox took everything. Do you know what I mean?
Seriously.
Like, yeah, man.
Do you know? It's okay to have that person or people that you... Like, I sent a text to Ali about my tiny little lamb. Is it going to make it? Grace is totally attached to it. Like, because her partner he's done all the agriculture at uni, and like, he's all over it. He's been farming his whole life. So I still reach out to her. And, you know, we bump ideas off each other and stuff. And that is so valuable. Like, she's the reason we're homeschooling. She gave me the guts to do it. I wanted to for ages. But I just didn't have the balls.
And the stigma, and the stigma around it.
Oh, stigmas.
The weird kids, you know.
Yeah. Well,
okay, but you've met my kids.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I know. No, I'm saying...
Remember growing up?
Don't talk to Zoe about it.
Yeah.
Oh.
As a psychologist, she has certain ideas about homeschooling.
Yeah.
Hang on, wait. She needs to probably do a dissertation into it then, because I tell you what, I've met loads of them. They're so great. And like, some are weird, but that's because the parents have...
But that's also because they're weird.
Yeah.
They just...
No, but not just that. Like,
that's how you do it. I mean, there's right ways and wrong ways to do it.
Yeah,
but...
like anything,
But what's weird, like, Steve Jobs is weird. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, if you allow someone the space...
weird.
Yeah, I know. But if you allow someone the space to create...
Oh, absolutely.
Then, or a kid that bounds up to you and says, "Hi, I'm so and so," and they're like 4, and you're like, "Fuck, that's weird," because you don't see that all the time.
Yeah, you're like, "Oh, where'd you come from?"
I mean, the kids different, expressing themselves differently.
Well, I know, but that is
no. But I'm saying, like, say a homeschool kid is they're able to express themselves differently. They're not just sit in the chair and mold to sit in a desk.
And that's why their stigma is
Forevermore.
attached. They're weird, right?
Yeah.
But you know, like.
Because, I mean, but in fairness, like, you could take the argument of homeschool kids can be very isolated.
Yes.
And that can be a problem in terms of socialising, but...
Depends on how you do it.
Depends on how you do it. Yeah. Why would you do that?
Yeah. Well, that's right.
But also, are you going to send them off to school to get bullied all the time as well?
But this is the thing. You're going to get good and bad in both.
Exactly.
I'm not saying all homeschool kids is great.
No.
Because we had a tenant once that homeschooled her 2 girls, and we never saw those girls do any schooling. They just cleaned and cooked, and they took care of the parents. They were like
Slaves.
And that was again why I was like, I'm
Yeah.
not homeschooling, because that's how I saw homeschooling.
Yeah,
I was like,
right,
no, I'm not doing
right.
that to my
Yeah,
kids.
yeah.
But, you know, it's the same with homesteading, I think.
Mhm.
People are like, oh, no, I'm not redneck, or I'm not going to go out there, and or like, I don't know
I'm not going
that.
to wrestle that
What do you-
chook.
I don't
Well,
know.
not, but even
Oh,
like
my
talking
meat.
talking to some people, and it's just like, would you eat a chicken if I gave it to you? And they're
Yes.
like, no, because like I know where it came from, and it's like they just don't trust. But like, you trust
Well, it's
the
like a guinea pig
no
thing.
face,
Yeah.
no named
Body.
source of this antibiotic riddled chicken from the supermarket.
Yeah.
But you won't
Steroids
trust
and
the one that
antibiotics.
you can see is super healthy over there right now
And digging in the grass.
will be ready in half an hour on your
Yeah.
well, in the oven, I guess, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
ready
You don't
to
know
be
who's
eaten
touched
soon
it.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you can see how fresh it is straight away,
Yeah, no, I won't touch it.
and they're just like, oh, it's a bit weird.
Nah, how, man? It's
It's like,
mindset.
how is that weird?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't.
That's
We think
Yeah.
that thought's
That's
weird.
Yeah, no, but
That
that's
is
the conditioning.
delicious, my
That's the
friend. That is
conditioning. That's the conditioning people go through.
Well, I know, and this is the thing, like, and we've talked about it here before. Like, one of the big reasons we decided to do it was also ownership over the act. Like,
Ah,
you know
Yeah,
how
yeah.
you've kept your animals. You know how you've cared for them. You
Yeah.
know how, you know. Speaking of which, is Gavin in the freezer yet, or are we still working up to that?
he's chewing on my neighbour's field at the moment. So
Joseph's in love
I'm
with
waiting for
his
some cooler weather.
meat. Okay.
I mean,
we'll go with that.
offing a chicken is pretty easy when you not having a gun right
Yeah.
now is the problem. That's
Oh,
the big.
well, we can
that's-
help you.
I know that. Yeah,
Community,
yeah.
mate. You just love him. Admit it.
Oh no, I tell him every day, Gavin, I'll eat your face off. Rub him on the nose, and just like, you're looking tastier, buddy.
Yeah.
I can't
This
wait to
is the
take a bite
thing.
out of that tongue.
You're loving on him. He is totally cared for. He's
Oh, yeah.
not stressed and being thrown on a truck. Do you know what I'm saying? He's not being sent to an
He's a
abs.
puppy. He's a big, giant puppy.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that. You're showing them, and but you can also monitor the health of them.
Yeah.
You don't know if that's a very sick looking steak that's in your freezer or in
No.
the freezer in the supermarket. Like,
No, you can't.
was that? Was that?
Did it have a massive abscess on the side?
Absolutely, yeah.
They all do.
Was it-
He's
yeah.
worked in the abs.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff he saw, it would go along the rail, it would fall off the rail, they'd pick it back on the dirty floor.
Yeah.
They'd pick it up and hose it off. It
Well, that
goes.
seemed-
They don't care.
Well,
Oh,
for a
that one-
second rule, mate.
that cow seemed to have a calf inside of it that's
Yeah.
still
Oh
alive.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's so
Yep.
bad.
But even the whole.
we can more consciously do what we do and
Well, we don't
sleep
waste
at
it
night.
either.
No.
You're going to use every part of that animal. How much of those in those processing facilities just get thrown away?
Yeah.
With food,
And gone
food,
to a
and
tip.
yeah, would not even recycled into say something you can put back out on the land,
Yeah, I know.
like bones and all.
Yep.
You know, every bit of it. Like you have
We
to
bury
treat.
them under our fruit trees in lanes.
Oh yeah,
Like
That'll-
the tree will tap into it when it's ready.
absolutely. The microbes will go and make them.
The thing is,
bioavailable.
also
Yeah.
too, another thing we learned, all our sausage skins, because I go to
Yes.
the butchers equipped to purchase the
Mhm.
butchering stuff, and they reckon they're all export. No, we don't even have
He made his
someone in
own.
Australia.
Oh, yeah.
Almost
I
what I'm
have,
saying, commercially to buy,
Yeah.
just because there's so much. They were telling me just how much water's used to clean them out, apparently, on a large scale.
Oh, large scale. That's just
Yeah, you know,
inefficiency.
It's bullshit.
It
That's
is.
inefficiency.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
So, but you know
he
what I mean.
cleaned out the goats.
I've brined goat skins in my fridge at the moment. To make
From
Was
the
it-
goat
was
that
it-
got kicked to death.
little goaty
And was it easy?
sausages. Yeah, it's just time. It's a little bit time consuming, but that's because you're doing it manually.
Yeah.
All you have to do is hold the skin in one hand and have like a flat surface and just run it across the skin, then flip it inside out and just run it across the skin again. That's very simplifying the
And clean
process.
it.
But yeah, I'll clean it as you go. But you're just basically scraping off the I can't remember what
guts.
the name of it is. It's not even the guts, like, because you just
Well,
you
Is
blast
Is it the
water through it.
bacilli,
You
they
just
call those
like the yeah
little fingers that
Yeah.
digest it all.
yeah.
And
The
then
stuff
you
that
brine
scrapes
it
off.
in salt,
Yeah.
which kills
Which
everything.
kills off anything anyway.
Everything.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Apoptosis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
right.
So this is the thing, like,
You just blast water through it. You just hold it. It's strong enough.
Yeah.
So you just put it up to a hose. That'll blast out all of the insides. Then you scrape away the outside to get all the outer material off that will come off.
Yeah.
Like all the blood vessels and whatever that's still stuck to it, and the visceral fat
See,
or whatever.
what can't we be
And you
doing
flip it
our own?
inside out. You
Yeah.
basically
can.
you hold it on one end. You stick it up to a tap, and you just blast water through it. It will flip it inside out for you. Like however many meters of this stuff,
Yeah.
and you just scrape the other side, and then you just clean it and brine it.
Yeah.
Like
Sweet.
it's, but you can get machines that do that.
Yeah.
You just stick it on, and it will clean it for you.
Ah, well, this guy's.
But
Yeah,
there's a
he
market
imports
for, but there's a market for synthetic.
There
skins
is too.
as well.
We won't
There
use
is.
synthetic.
Absolutely not.
They're
Why would you?
terrible. They
There's
don't
also-
work for you either. They blow out. They
Yeah,
cause
they're
that one
terrible.
walking out there is free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And not wasted and thrown away.
Exactly. That's what I
Yeah.
mean. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess. I guess we'll wrap this up though. But
Yeah.
I don't even know how long it's been going for, a long time. But I want to say thank you so much for joining me. And I
That's
think
alright.
the main reason I wanted you on was to show all the different walks of life that do it, and all different ways, and how you have definitely enriched my life knowing you and teaching me things and
Oh,
stuff like that.
I mean,
so
definitely the same.
yeah.
You're my go-to when I have
cow issues.
any issues or
Yeah.
any advice or
Well-
just a shoulder to cry on. I think.
Yeah.
Because I
They're the
get
go-tos.
the cold shoulder from Zoe sometimes.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's it. That's it.
Well,
Get
some-
yourself into this mess. Get yourself out.
Yeah. Well, I know that you're not an animal person, so I definitely go to Joseph
No,
because he'll
absolutely.
understand when I've lost one, and
Yeah.
it breaks your heart. And
Yeah.
you're like, when I was trying to nurse those babies through the sickness because they didn't
It's
get
so
there,
hard, isn't it?
and then all three
Yeah,
died, and it was
yeah.
like weeks of it. And I mean, you were helping me, but you don't get that heartstring attached to the babies.
No.
Whereas Joseph's he does as well, and it's
Yeah.
like it felt nice to have someone that could commiserate with me and
Yeah.
be like, I get it.
I mean,
I'm
I get
doing-
it, and at the same time, I'm not afraid to do what's necessary. You know what I
No.
mean? Like, you're gonna have to be of that mindset.
Yeah, we're the same in
Yeah.
that respect, but
Yeah.
some of them grip you, and
Oh.
and it's hard.
Oh, it's
and-
never easy. Like, even just you pick a chicken for dinner.
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay, well, I gotta slaughter this chicken now. You're
Yeah.
like, thank you, chicken, for the
Yeah.
life that you've lived. Thank you for providing, whatever services you have to the farm, and good luck.
Yeah.
And it's done. And but you have to go with that mindset. Like, you can't just.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
You have to be thankful for everything that you have and realize its value, down to.
And honour it.
But even down to everything that it will provide for you after its death.
Yeah.
Like, that is the mindset you have to go
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
with everything. With trees, with weeds, because weeds are, I mean, we could go into that too, about like how nutritious they are for the soil. We
Yeah.
don't have to do it now, but I mean,
No, we'll
everything you
definitely do it
provide on
later.
your homestead
Yeah.
Yeah.
can
and
be
they
used
can
in some capacity.
they can also be a bit of a shining light on what's missing, what's lacking.
Absolutely.
All of those things.
Yeah.
So whatever pops up there will tell you if you've got copper deficiency or whatever. So
Well, that's what I wanted to go.
we
down
are
is
going to go into
I
that
want to
later.
go like pastures.
That's a
We
different
can do that next
podcast.
On the next
With
episode.
the chemistry man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did want to say a massive thank you for coming
No
over,
worries.
and,
Thank you for the
and
invite.
let's get stuck into that mead.
More mead.
Thank you everyone for joining
I love
us. We really hope you enjoyed
you.
it. Please leave a comment if you want to hear anything more and we talked about something you want us to delve into deeper.
Send your chemistry questions.
That's it.
Send us the questions.
Yeah.
See you later everyone.
Hooroo and bye for now.
Bye for now. Take
Bye.
care.